Jeffrey Berner. Jeffrey Berner. Jeffrey Berner. You did it.
I did it,
yeah. Congratulations. That's one of my favorite bits from that special.
Yeah, no, that's my favorite song from that, I think.
Just to say, Jeffrey Bezos, congratulations on all of it. on everything. Because he did do it.
He's done a lot. A lot has been done.
He did it. Whatever it is, the dude nailed it, bro. Jeffrey Berner, you are Jeffrey Bezos. Welcome back, bro.
I am?
You should be. Huh. It's good to have you back. Good to have you back on the podcast. I'm excited to have you on for today's episode of Spoil the Beans. You've been on this podcast before.
Yes.
The last time you were on, you did Hot Fuzz.
Yes, yeah. I spoiled a movie for you.
You did?
Yeah.
We usually don't do the recaps anymore, but I watched Hot Fuzz after he told it to me. It's a pretty good movie. Really
yeah, I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Thank you. There's too many British people, I would say.
Everyone in it was British.
Yeah,
so
too British.
It was that. There was that problem. But other than that, that's a good fucking movie, dog.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh my God. We bashed your skull in. All sorts of goodies. That's my favorite guy.
Skinner.
I keep doing it around the house. He's so funny, bro.
I'm a slasher.
I'm a slasher.
Lock me up. I'm a slasher. Of prices.
Yeah,
that's a...
Woo, go back and hit pause on this and just go watch the Hot Fuzz episode if you haven't. We'll wait. I guess don't hit pause. We'll just wait.
Do you,
Want me to tell you a movie in the meantime?
Yeah. If you've got any good movies, I could hear.
Well,
I don't like watching them.
That's fine. So before we get to the, while we're waiting, I'll tell you a movie before we get to the actual movie that I'm going to do today.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
I'll tell you a movie in the meantime.
While they're watching the Hot Fuzz episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while they're watching Hot Fuzz,
you
guys go watch Hot Fuzz. I'll tell him a movie in the meantime.
Right. They're not listening though, right? Okay, because they should be watching Hot Fuzz.
They should be watching Hot Fuzz for the Hot Fuzz episode. This is for us.
Yes.
The rest of this episode, no one will hear this.
This is just for us and the fun of holding microphones.
Yeah. If I got one, I'm going to hold it.
Yeah.
Remember when I got into a fight with that girl? I never put the microphone down. I couldn't help myself. I beat up a girl once.
Holding a microphone.
I'm an entertainer. Like Cedric. Steve Harvey's right there. You can't see him, but he gets it. He smiled at that joke. Jeffrey, I'm really excited to tell you today's movie.
Yeah. You've been telling me. I mean, you haven't told me what it is, but you've been telling me a lot about.
What have I told you? What have I said? What have I said so far?
You've told me it's one of the craziest movies ever. You've compared it to The Departed.
Yep. I stand by that.
You have.
As far as indie goes, for sure.
Yeah, I think you've basically described it as just one of the craziest movies ever.
Ever.
And that it's crazy I haven't seen it, and that it's gonna blow my mind and make me go insane.
It should make you go insane. If you don't go insane after this, I'm a little disappointed. Okay. I'm hoping right after this episode ends, you murder everyone.
Okay, I mean that gets in the way of my plans, but.
Well, that's how good this episode. I hope this episode goes.
Okay. Well, I'm a fan of my sanity, but if it's that good a movie, then it's that good a movie, you know?
Yeah, you can't take it away. Yeah, you can't be mad at the movie for being that good.
That's art. Yeah,
it's art, brother. Jeffrey, bro. Ooh, I'm excited. This episode today is brought to you by Will Peacock. A Beaner paid for this. He paid extra. This motherfucker paid. It's $100 for me to do an episode, right?
His name is Peacock?
His name is Will Peacock. He's the motherfucker. What's that line? I'm the originator of this gangster shit, and it's the motherfucking thanks I get. Who says that line? Is it Dr. Dre?
I don't know. It sounds like Dr. Dre would say.
I think it's Dr. Dre. That's Will Peacock. He's the reason that these episodes exist. Okay. He was the first guy who hit me up and was like,
"Oh wow,
can I pay $100 for an episode?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And then I was like, "Man, I should just put that out in the world to see if people bite." And people bought. And you guys are awesome, but Will Peacock, you're the motherfucking man. He paid extra. I like how you were like, I'm not waiting in that fucking line. He paid the extra money, which you can do. It's $100 though if you want me to do an episode. If you want to skip the line, pay extra, and I will totally allow that. I don't care about anyone.
Yeah.
I like money most.
America. His name's Will Peacock.
Will Peacock.
That sounds like a character from Clue.
Yeah, right? He's an interesting fella, but he picks good fucking movies. He picks really good fucking movies. He's done Sing Street, which I love. That was the first movie we ever did. He did A Silent Voice, which was fucking really crazy, and I worried about you after that one. He had some dark shit going on that week, I guess.
Okay.
And now this, which is one of the best movies ever. Me and Sam recently just watched it. We watched this movie, Jeffrey, at least within 2 weeks ago.
Okay, word.
You were gone.
Yeah.
And me and Sam watched it one of the nights. It was one of the nights you were gone. So that recent.
Yeah.
Bro, Jeffrey, can you tell me what happens in the movie you've never seen that our boy Will Peacock today has blessed us with, that I am going to bless you with, bro? I'm so excited to tell it to you. Jeffrey, tell me what you think happens in Gone Girl.
Okay. I really just have the name on this one.
I know, baby. The name doesn't give away anything.
So people really like alliteration in this.
Mm-hmm.
Gone Girl. So we got the 2 G's, right?
2 G's. There's another word. There's a couple words I know with 2 G's in them, but we'll get to that later.
Oh, yeah. Is that...
Gregarious.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Gargantuan.
Yep. Gigantic.
Nigger.
Yeah, I hadn't thought. Yeah.
Oh, that one too. I was really just thinking of a gigantic nigger, but that also has 2 G's in it.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of it without the R.
Anyway. Are you thinking of a gigantic nigger though? Every time I keep saying it, are you picturing it?
Yeah.
You see it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
No, he's a good guy.
Oh, wait, what happens in Gone Girl? In your version.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've never seen the movie. So this is Jeffrey Berner's take on Gone Girl.
There's this girl, this young lady, and she's there, and it's like
looking at her.
Yeah, it's like here she is, and she's doing girl stuff.
Doing some girl stuff.
Girl stuff, stuff that doesn't matter.
Abortion.
Yeah, stuff that doesn't matter. And and then we cut to later, and it's like she's gone.
Fuck.
She's not, and it's like, where is?
Well, yeah, we don't even know how she
where
was
is
missing.
This girl?
Yeah.
And then.
Well, do you really not know who even the lead actor is in this?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, never mind. You guessed it. Never mind. Sorry, I don't know why I interrupted. My bad. I shouldn't have said anything. Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Keep going.
He's like, where is she?
He's a really good actor. He'd probably say it more like, where is she? He's really good.
Yeah, he is really good. I like him. And then someone's like, I don't know. And then he's like, come on. Where is she? And then they're like, well, I don't know, but...
Yeah, he must. Yeah, he probably knows something. Yeah.
Right, and then he tells him the butt thing, and then he's got to talk to someone else, and then he's like, where is she? And then that person is like, I don't know. What are you asking me for? There is no girl.
I like this guy the most.
Yeah. And then the guy leaves to take a shit or something, and then Philip Seymour Hoffman, he looks around and he's like, there is a thing, and then he goes to the thing, and the girl's not there, but someone else who also we were wondering where they were is there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I've seen movies do that.
Yeah. And then
Wait, did I hit record? Yeah, I did. Good.
The twists keep coming. And then that person is like, also says there's no girl.
These niggas is lying.
Yeah. And then we start to question whether Philip Seymour Hoffman is crazy.
That's what they do when there's I've
it's like,
seen them do that in movies too.
Am I crazy? Because we were kind of
who was I making love to all those years?
Yeah. But then as the audience, we're on his side, so we're like, have we been fooled by what we thought to be?
Yeah.
And then
it's actually really good.
Yeah. And then
how does it end? Because I said the ending is a mind fuck.
Then the girl shows up, but actually, now she's a woman. She's matured, and she kills Bin Laden. Because this was made before Bin Laden was killed. I don't know if that's actually true, but
hopefully. I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman's alive.
It was a speculation on how it might go when we.
And then the movie ends, and the real title was Zero Dark 30.
Yeah,
it's like it wasn't Gone Girl. That's a mindfuck.
Yeah,
you watch a movie, and then at the end, it was
it's
another
a whole other movie.
That I've never seen a director do that.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? And I'm not kidding. You didn't know anything. You didn't know who the lead in this really is, right? You have nothing. You don't know who the director is.
No.
And you don't remember when. This
Actually,
came
I think I do know the director.
Who?
Is it David Fincher?
You know the director.
Yeah.
He's a beast, bro. He's one of my favorites.
He's made some things
that good stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't know anything. Clearly,
No.
You don't know who the lead is.
Okay, clearly, I don't know.
But this never happens. You were like 50% right.
Well, anything where a person's missing or there's investigating, it's like
No, you were 50%. No, you know what? You were like there was a 20%. You got like 20% of it, which is like, huh. But you know what? You won't believe what you got right.
Okay.
That's what's crazy. That part you're gonna be like, yo, what?
It is Zero Dark 30.
It's Zero Dark 30, my nigga. Oh my God, Jeffrey, are you ready to hear this?
Yeah.
This is a good one, buddy.
Put it in my ears.
You like good movies, and that's why I'm so. Will Peacock, you're a son of a bitch, bro. You're a good son of a bitch, but you're a son of a bitch. Oh shit! Before I tell you the movie, let's pay the bills so we can keep the podcast
Money.
Okay. Jeffrey, I like T-shirts.
Me too.
I've noticed you're wearing one, and I actually like the one you got on today.
Yeah, Piggly Wiggly. I've never been.
Really?
Mm-mm. Huh. But I have the shirt.
How'd you get the shirt?
So I never have to go. I bought it from Boon Shakalaka.
Boon Shakalaka. Shout out Boon, bro. We don't shout you out enough on this podcast.
Yeah. Is he a sponsor?
He should be. Guys, if you like shirts.
If you like shirts for $3 each on the patio of the Comedy Store.
Oh, is he still there? Is he back?
Actually, I haven't seen him in a while.
Okay.
If you like sporadically present.
If you like sporadically present businesses where prices are always debatable.
Always.
Every price. You can debate. Trust me.
Items may or may not have been stolen. It is unclear.
But look how cool the shirts you get.
Check out. Yeah. And and there's no rhyme or reason to the products for sale.
No refunds.
No refunds.
No rhyme or reason for the products for sale. Also, you might get a laptop or something else cool. You never know.
Yes.
You never know what you might get with Boon Shakalaka. But not only can you get shirts with Boon, a crazy homeless guy at the Comedy Store, or not homeless, who knows? You can also get shirts from Hidden Village Customs, guys. www.hiddenvillagecustoms.com. Hidden Village Customs. Guys, they make amazing, amazing shirts. They make cool shirts that have all these great anime logo mixed in with sports, mixed in with like real like pictures. It was, like one is a picture of me and Sam doing the podcast, but our heads are the Recess characters. They sent me a hoodie that is Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and their heads are Goku and Vegeta. Like they make amazing shirts, guys. Go check them out. www.hiddenvillagecustoms.com. They make you can send them a request or a logo you want. Literally, my other favorite thing about their stuff is does not shrink in the dryer and washer, and the logo does not fade, which is probably the most important thing. If you're gonna buy a shirt with a logo on it, that's the biggest sale. I don't think the logo matters if it fades or if the shirt gets small. So Hidden Village Custom, guys. Shout out to our boy Gabe. He is the owner. He lives in the Bay Area. He's a Bay Area beaner. Hyphy.
Yeah.
If you're in the Bay Area, go show him some love. He is not a pedophile.
Nice.
He puts that in the ad. Makes me wonder why, but he's not a pedophile. So, guys, Hidden Village Custom. He's not a pedophile.
Wow. What other things isn't he?
I'm assuming, not a murderer. He's not a Trump supporter, I'll tell you that. But he's not a pedophile, I hope. I'm not there, so I can't say. Have you ever seen him fuck a kid?
I haven't seen him fuck a kid or not fuck a kid.
Exactly.
I
I'm
haven't
the same
seen
way.
him in either instance. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I guess we'll just have to try and bait him when we meet him.
When we meet him, we'll bait him and see what he does.
Yeah.
And then we'll know whether you guys should keep supporting this business or not. Hidden Village Customs is
for
the
now,
business.
Yeah, for now.
www.hiddenvillagecustoms.com. It's a t-shirt company, not a pedophile place. He pays for that. Guys, do you like weed? I smoked a little bit before the episode started. And if you want to smoke the weed Derek smokes, there's only one weed, and that's Happy Canary. Happy Canary, guys, on all social media platforms. Happy Canary, HAPPYCANARY. The best weed in town, the best weed with no frowns, the best weed put on a gown, the best weed. I'm a clown. That's their saying. And
nice.
I memorized it because I'm a good fucking guy. Sam's here. Hey,
Hello,
Sam. You want to come say hi? No. She said no. That's how she feels about you, Bean Mafia. I said, you want to come say hi? She said, she's flicking me off. She's doing the Nazi symbol to Jeffrey with her hands.
Hey, how did you even learn to do that?
Yeah, how did you learn to do your hands like that? And she killed a Jew. How did you learn to do the hand thing? That's actually more impressive than I'm upset. I mean, it looks exactly like a Nazi.
Yeah, it's like the Bloods, sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
You should teach Nazis that. That's pretty cool. Anyway, guys, Happy Canary. Go buy their weed. Go smoke it. It is good stuff. Jeffrey, you used to play football.
I did. I was like 4th, 5th string defensive end. I got a sack.
You know who that reminds me of? And it's a pretty similar story.
Yeah.
Darren Bates. He's my buddy who's had a 10-year career in the NFL.
Oh, yeah, same basic concept.
Same basic concepts, same basic principles.
Team barbecues.
Yeah. And $1 million contracts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Guys, if you like NFL players and if you like black people, I hope you. And if you don't, it's interesting. If you don't like one of those, it's weird.
That's true.
Because it's like, well, how'd you separate that?
Well, I guess I can see liking black people and not liking NFL players.
That's hard. There's so many of them.
There are a lot. Everywhere I go.
NFL players.
Yeah.
Guys, speaking of one black one, his name's Darren Bates, and he is a good man. He is the president of this podcast. He pays for every single episode. He keeps the lights on. He keeps the laptop running. He keeps Jeffrey alive. You want to make sure Jeffrey keeps eating? You go to Darren Bates' page and you follow him.
Please.
He's hungry. At Westlandson_56, you message him and you say the beans sent me. You say, I'm here to feed Jeffrey. Also say that. Say the beans sent me and I'm here to feed Jeffrey.
Jeffrey's hungry.
Jeffrey's hungry. Anything like that, if you can please send him that message and make sure he knows that Jeffrey needs his peanut butter.
Exactly. Crunchy.
Crunchy. He does not like smooth. Darren Bates, guys, go show him some love. Listen to his podcast, The Raw Room. He has amazing guests. I've been on it. He's had the Bussin' with the Boys guys on it. He just did Bussin' with the Boys on Bar, one of the biggest podcasts on Barstool. I mean, he's killing it. Guys, The Raw Room. Go check it out. Go show him some love and tell him the beans sent me here.
And also, he just posted a photo from Montana.
He's in Montana right now.
Where my father currently is as well. My dad's on
What's
a
your dad
trip
doing
there. Just on a trip with the wife.
Nancy?
No, that's the ex-wife.
Oh, yeah.
Mom, as I call her.
I always remember the happy days.
Sure, yeah, don't we all?
That's how I remember it.
Yeah.
When we were all together.
But if anyone's trying to stalk my father, he's in Montana right
You know what
now.
city?
No, I don't. So you gotta really do your research.
That's
You
a
gotta
big ass place, bro.
Yeah. But
Billings, maybe? Helena?
I don't know. I think he's somewhere. He went to see some nature, so I think he probably I don't know.
That's like all of Montana, probably.
Yeah. They got a lot of nature there. They haven't figured out
cities yet.
Yeah. They don't get it.
The nature they get, they haven't figured out what Chicago is. They're like, oh, what?
Yeah, it's a lot of
pizza
people.
everywhere. Why would there be pizza everywhere?
Pizza instead of trees? How do you turn trees to
damn,
pizza?
that's a good way to describe a city.
How do you get from trees to pizza?
Jeffrey, legitimately, how did they get from trees to just pizza?
It's a lot of
everywhere?
steps. Yeah,
it's a lot of steps,
Yeah.
bro. And there's a lot of pizza in Chicago.
Yeah.
Heard a lot of good pizza though. Never been.
That's the number one thing they talk about in terms of Chicago is the pizza rate.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
An interesting number 2 problem but we'll focus on the pizza. Jeffrey Berner, you ready to hear Gone Girl?
Yes.
The bills are paid.
Okay. Yeah, I'm prepared.
I wonder if people fast forward through the bills part. I wish I could, but I can't. You're lucky.
I think you make the ads entertaining.
True, but I just want to watch the movie.
You mix it up. Yeah, I get that. But I don't know that when you go to a movie, don't you kind of enjoy the trailers?
I do.
Yeah.
But if the trailers were just commercials, I would not enjoy it. No matter how good they were.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, if before the podcast, it was clips of future episodes, fire.
Ooh.
Yo,
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
I'm all about that,
Yeah.
dog. Because then it's like, what? Because you're so excited for this movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
I'm
And
talking
with just an amazing score as well under it. Just crazy
dude.
intense.
Crazy.
Yeah,
That's actually a really good idea for an episode.
Yeah.
To play like 5 minutes of another episode.
Yeah.
And it's the best part. So people are like, damn, it ruined the whole episode for me. I don't even need to see that episode now.
Yeah.
They just showed the best parts.
That is what they do.
That is what they do. Jeffrey, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do Gone Girl. You ready,
Okay.
buddy?
Yes.
I'm so fucking excited. God, I'm fucking pumped. I love movies like this. Will Peacock, good job. Movie starts.
Thank you, Will.
Credits roll.
Always.
Voiceover. When I think of my wife, I think of her head.
Ooh.
I picture cracking it open, unspooling her brains. I know. I know you're like this.
Bold start.
Also, I know you're like, well, this seems similar to another movie I just heard, where that line was kind of like that.
Yeah. But it doesn't open with that.
It does not open with
this
that.
is, yeah.
This is the first line. Trying to get answers. The primal question of any marriage. What are you thinking? How are we feeling? What have we done to each other? You see, fades in, you see him rubbing the back of this beautiful blonde hair.
Okay.
A woman turns around. She's beautiful, and she just smiles at him. Gone Girl. All right?
Okay.
Credits roll, serious-ass music. Early morning, we see a small, shitty kind of town.
Okay.
Right? You see nice suburbs, like a neighborhood suburbs. We see our lead standing outside by his trash cans. Ben Affleck.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
Dude, he kills this. July 5th, the morning of.
Okay.
Okay? We see him head into work. A place called The Bar. All
Okay.
right? He gets in. It's a bar.
Sure.
His sister's the bartender, right? His sister's Margot. He's like, yo, happy birthday. They kind of talk shit to each other. They're twins.
Okay.
Okay? They work at the bar together. It's their place.
Yeah.
All right? They make small talk. He's having a bad day. She can tell. She can feel it on him. She's like, what's wrong? It's our anniversary. And then she's like, oh, wow, that's today. Oh, that's right. He goes, 5 years. And then she goes, wow, that came fast. And he goes, and furious. And he says it like he's pissed. Fades out.
Little reference to another classic film.
And then we'll get to, guys. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Fades out. You hear another voiceover. You hear a woman this time. I'm so crazy, stupid, happy.
Okay.
You see a woman writing in a journal. I met a sweet, gorgeous, cool ass guy. We see this the beautiful blonde.
Okay.
The actress's name is Rosamund Pike. I don't know if you know her. She's great.
Okay.
You recognize her from shit, but you don't know that. But she's a great actress.
Okay,
You know,
word.
but this bro. This put this bitch in like, oh, she's a bad motherfucker.
Okay. Word. Yeah.
She's like, we see her at a party, right? And Ben Affleck walks up, and they meet, and he starts hitting on her, and he's making her laugh, and there's this sweet music playing in the background, like very much like a meet cute in a rom-com. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
And he has her giggling, and he's spitting game, and he's killing it, right? And she finds out he's from Missouri. He's a Missouri boy. You know?
Okay.
She's a New York girl. She's like, I'm Amy. All right? He finds out her job is she writes personality quizzes for a magazine. Like tabloid bullshit. Like that's her job,
Okay.
right? And then, they laugh more, and she's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm the guy here to save you. And she smiles, right? And it kind of zooms in on her smile. She finds out, they're going to down the elevator. She finds out his job is he writes for a men's magazine, and he doesn't really like his job either. They both want to be writers.
All right.
That's what they both really want.
Yeah.
They promise in the elevator, like they're on a date, right? Cut to in the future, they're on a date, and they're having a good time. And in the elevator, they promise that they're never gonna bullshit each other. Let's always be 100 with each other, right?
Yeah.
And she's looking at him and she says, which is very true about Ben Affleck. She goes, "It's hard to believe you." And he goes, "Why?" She was like, "It's your chin. It just looks villainous." And right? And it's like, I don't know if that was in the script or not, but she like did, and he laughs, genuinely laughs. Yeah. And he goes, "All right, how about this?" And he covers his chin up. And he goes, "Whenever I do this, and I say anything, no bullshit. It's 100%.
Okay.
And she laughs. She's like, "All right, right?" So they keep walking. And as they're walking, he takes her. He's like, "Oh, I got to show you this cool thing." He looks at his watch. He's like, "Oh, come check out this cool thing." And he takes her down the alley, and they go behind this bakery, and you see sugar everywhere, and it looks like it's falling like snow because they're moving the sugar in from the trucks.
Oh, okay.
Right into this bakery, and it's like so much, right? So it's just sugar everywhere, and it looks like a snowstorm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they walk through it, and she's like, right? And he's looking at her, and she's gorgeous, bro. And he's like, "I have to kiss you," and she's like, "Is that right?" And he's like, "I can't let you go through a sugar storm unkissed." And she smiles. And then he's about to kiss, and he goes, "Oh, hold on." And he wipes her lips, like the sugar off her lips. And she's like, and then they make out. Okay? Fades out, fades back in, he's eating her pussy. Like straight up, just cool. That's where he's eating her pussy, bro. And she's like, and then she leans up and she's like, "Nick Dunne?" He looks up, he's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I really like you." And he's like, he smiles, and he just goes back down on her. And she's just like, right?
Yeah.
Cut back to present day. They're in the bar.
Yeah.
Him and his sister. Okay? Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Is your wife doing the treasure hunt thing today?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." And he says how he hates it. Every anniversary, she does this treasure hunt, but it always is like makes him feel bad. He says that every year, it's always these little symbolic things that he needs to do better, or like, you know what I mean? Like little things that he should improve on and just shit like that. And then that's why he hates doing it. And then, and she goes, she sticks to every anniversary gift. I don't know if you know in marriage, you might know that. In every marriage, or in marriage, every year is a symbolic thing. And that's what you're supposed to get your significant other. Like the first year is gold, the second year is like silver, the fourth year is like, this, the fifth year is like sugar. You know what I mean?
I've never heard this.
Well, okay. So, yeah, there's like a thing, and it's like, and that's what a lot of couples go off of.
Okay.
All right. So she's like, she's like, 5 years. What's the 5-year anniversary gift? And he thinks, and he's like, wood. And she's like, well, just go home and give her some dick. Right. And they laugh. Right then he gets a call. It's from his neighbor. And he's like, "Hey, what's up, Walt?" "Oh, yeah? Oh, well, thanks. Oh, yeah, I'll be right there." Cut to, he rushes home, right? Pulls in the driveway, and he looks over, and his neighbor's outside, and his neighbor waves, his old man. And he's like, "Hey, thanks, Walt. Appreciate it." And he turns, and you see the cat is on the front door, like the front outside.
Okay.
He's like, "What are you doing outside, buddy?" And he grabs the cat, and he's like, "Huh?" And then he goes to the door. The door's open.
Okay.
And he's like, "The fuck?" So he goes in. He's like, "Amy?" Doesn't hear anything. He goes in the living room. The furniture's flipped over. Their table is broken, like all the glass on the floor. And he's like, "Amy!" Cut to police all showing up to the house.
Right.
All right.
This is the gone part.
Oh, Jeffrey. Yo. Police show up. This woman, you see the lead detective of the movie, like who's going to be like the head cop, right? Mm-hmm. She's great too. She's like, "How's it going? I'm a Detective Rhonda Boney. I'm here for for the concerns of your wife. Everything going on. Hey, can I help you? Like, how's everything going?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't know." Ben Affleck's like, "Yeah, I don't. She was here, and I came home to this." And he's like, and he points at the living room. He's like, "I don't panic easy, but this is weird, right?" And then she's like, "Yeah, can we look around?" He's like, "Yeah." So they look around, and as they're looking around, the cop's just asking them questions, and she finds out how they were writers in New York. They both failed. They had to move back to New Missouri. All right. Mm-hmm. They find out the mom, his mom got sick. That's one of the reasons they moved out. She's like, "What do you do for work now?" He's like, "Oh, me and my sister, we own the bar downtown." She's like, "Oh, the bar. I love that name. Very meta." Right? This dude, very just like a Southern cop that's like, "Yo, this cop is scary," because she's being all nice. To me, that's always a scary good detective when they're like, because it's like, "Yo, this motherfucker ain't nice, fool. This motherfucker is a detective."
Right.
Like they're just asking, like every question is just like feeling you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You ever watch those like real like videos of detectives like questioning people for real?
Oh, police interviews are some of my favorite things on YouTube.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
This actress did a really good job.
Okay,
She
word.
sounds exactly like that. Like just when they sound nice and it's like, bro, these niggas ain't nice.
No, they're doing their job.
They're doing their fucking job,
Yeah.
fool. This movie's so good. So, she goes, she sees a ironing board with a dress on it, and the iron's on, still hot. And she's like, beautiful dress. Y'all going somewhere tonight? And he was like, it's our anniversary. She's like, She leaves a little post-it note by it, and he's like, and she cuts the ironing off. And he's like, okay. They go down to the kitchen. He's like, yeah, so this is the kitchen. I kind of looked around here already. And she like immediately walks right up to something and just leaves a little sticky note. And like, you know what I mean? And he's like, nerd, like, what the fuck is going on, right? And then he goes, this is my wife's office. And he looks around. And she looks around and she sees there's like degrees from Harvard, like multiple degrees from Harvard, all this shit, right? And she's like, impressive girl. And then she looks, there's posters in the room. And she goes, I remember these. I love these books. And you see the posters all say Amazing Amy. And then you see a picture of Amy next to the book. And she goes, your wife is Amazing Amy? And he's like, yep, she is. Cut to, you hear that, fades out. You hear that voiceover of the wife. Amazing fucking Amy is getting fucking married. With me, regular Amy, not married. Right? And then you hear the voiceover come to, and you see Amy at this huge book signing, right? And she's like, jealous of the golden child, perfect Amy, getting fucking married. And then you see her, she's talking to Ben Affleck. This is Amy. And she's like, when I was 10, I quit cello. The next book, Amazing Amy was a prodigy. When I was 11, I quit. I didn't make the soccer team. The next book, Amazing Amy won the championship. All right?
Okay, yeah.
And then he's looking at the books, and Ben Affleck laughs like, when did you get a dog? And she was like, Amy, Amazing Amy got the dog. My parents said I didn't deserve it. He's like, wow. I love your parents, but they can be assholes. Bro, this girl's whole life her parents have been writing a children's book about her, but better.
Wow.
Do you see what's going on?
Yeah.
That's why he's like, your wife's Amazing Amy. And he's like, so that's the situation of this girl. That's her whole life, bro. It's been this, okay? It's very important.
Okay, word.
So he's like, damn. Right then you see the parents walk up, and the parents look just like what you'd imagine rich, elite, white asshole parents would look like.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just completely don't care what they're mentally psychologically like doing there to their daughter.
Right.
Like, they give a fuck.
Right.
And they walk up and they're like, Amy, and and the dad asks her like, hey, you got to go talk to reporters with whoop, and she's like, Dad, I hate that. And he's like, yes, but it's for the book, like it's all for the book, you can't do, it's for your mother, you can't do that. She works very hard. And then she's like, and then you hear her voiceover, you hear her say to her husband, I can't say anything. I mean, this is the reason I have my brownstone in New York. This is the reason I have my trust fund. I can't complain. She's a rich kid.
Right.
All right. So the mom comes over and the mom gives her shit. Oh, why didn't you wear this? We told you Amazing Amy was going to be wearing this. You needed to wear an outfit that matched her. She's like, Mom, I just didn't. And then she's like, oh, well, you need to go talk to the reporters. Oh, I love how strangers pick at my scabs. Right? And she goes and sits down, and we see the reporters asking her all these questions about why isn't she married?
Okay.
And they're asking her just rude shit, right?
Yeah.
And then she finally just goes, well, Amazing Amy has always been one step ahead. And she like smiles all pissed. Right then, Nick Dunne walks up. That's Ben Affleck. All right. And he pretends to be a reporter too. And he asks her questions like about this boyfriend she has, like making fun of himself. Like, I heard you got this idiot boyfriend with you, right? And she kind of laughs. And then he goes, well, let me tell you something, Amazing Amy. I mean, Miss Amy Elliott. I think you're more than amazing. You challenge me. You surprise me. You have a world-class vagina. Everybody laughs.
Okay.
He goes, and one more question. You're not married, correct? And she's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, well, I think we should fix that. And he proposes to her.
Okay.
And everybody's like, everybody claps.
Very sweet, yeah.
And then you hear the voiceover. The night wasn't bad anymore. They kiss. All right.
Okay.
Cut 2. Nick Dunn's in the cop's office. Back present day. They are taking his DNA.
Okay.
All right. He's letting it happen. Being very nonchalant about it.
Okay.
All right. And the cops are saying, like, whoop, you should be taking this, serious. We have forensics at your place right now. Is there any place you can stay? He's like, oh, I'll stay at my sister's. And they're like, all right. And they go, we're going to hold a press conference tomorrow about this, Nick. And he goes, whoa, that's really serious. I feel like I'm in a Law and Order episode. Boom, boom, doom, 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 doom. And all the cops are now just kind of looking at him like, the fuck?
Right.
Because, your wife's missing.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of serious.
It's really serious.
Yeah.
And he's over there, bro. It's a great shot. He's just like, Ben Affleck's foot. Boom, 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 boom. So, the lead detective goes, Nick, do you want to get a lawyer? And he's like, no, I'm good.
Okay.
And they're like, okay. And they sit down. But you can tell he has not put 2 and 2 together of what the fuck is happening.
Right.
Right? They're questioning him, and they're like, so, a woman like Amy, all those degrees, what does she do all day? And he's like, I don't know. You don't know what your wife does all day? She keeps busy. How does she keep busy, Nick? She reads. She's always got a book in her hand. She's like, okay. Your wife, she's like, I know a lot of stay-at-home wives. Around 5 o'clock, that wine bottle usually gets cracked open. Your wife into that? Maybe pills? And he's like, no, Amy's not in any of that stuff. And she's like, okay. She got any friends? No. Your wife has no friends. She was close with my mom. Okay. Well, then my mom passed. He looks around and he goes, we have like a serious homeless problem in our neighborhood. Like, you guys look into that? And
What?
the cops kind of look at him like that, and they go, we'll look into that. Nick, can you just give me a rundown of your morning? And he's like, I was at the bar. I got to the bar around 11. They go, yeah, but what'd you do before the bar? He goes, well, I woke up, left for a coffee, got a newspaper. I went to Sawyer Beach to read it, and then I went to the work. And she goes, you visit anyone in Sawyer Beach? He goes, no, that's why I go to Sawyer Beach. It's for the solitude. And she's like, okay. And then she goes, so your wife, and she kind of explains his wife, seems like she's a woman of high standards. And he's like, yeah, my wife has really high standards. And she's like, so your wife's type A. You're more of a type B, laid back. And he's like, yeah, I guess you could say that. And then she's like, what's your wife's blood type? He's like, I don't know. You don't know your wife's blood type? No. Well, what are your parents? He said, what does Amy's parents have to say about all this today? And he goes, I haven't talked to him. Nick, you haven't told your wife's parents that their daughter's missing? No, I've been here all day. Nick, go call your wife's parents. All right, geez. And he gets up and he goes to call.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now, Jeffrey?
I'm a little confused.
You're a little confused.
I think maybe Nick. It's starting to seem like Nick did it, or he's like the most oblivious person to ever live.
It can only be one of those things.
Right. But it's like whenever someone from a couple disappears, the first person people suspect is the spouse. And you'd think he would know this.
So, Sam, how much are you loving this, listening to this right now? I'm enjoying it. Sam's listening because Sam knows, if anyone who knows this movie, you can imagine the thrill ride this guy is about to be on. So, by this guy, I mean Jeffrey the Jew. So,
I'm other things.
Don't you lie to them.
Although it is weird to, do you have to know it is weird to know your spouse's blood type necessarily.
I love that. So when he goes to call the cops, the other cop that was, there's two cops. There's like the lead detective and then like her side guy,
Co-detective.
Co-pilot.
Detective. Yeah.
He looks over and he literally goes, should I know my wife's blood type? And she goes, nobody knows their wife's blood type.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
So like,
she's being a detective.
Right.
That's what I told you. It's like, oh, bro, she's so good.
Yeah.
So Sam, you can't hear it, but Sam just said, yeah, she's really good.
And And now she's flashing a swastika at me again.
Sam, get out of here with all. Where did she get all that?
I don't know.
It's really nice though, the arts and crafts of it all.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. I mean, clearly a lot of time and thought was put into it, but it's just not the thought I would like.
Like, it's so good. Like, she clearly like messed up a couple times, like to get that right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, I did notice in the trash, yes.
Some things that look like swastikas, but not
yeah,
exactly.
not quite. Yeah. Just not aesthetically swastika enough.
Yeah. So we see our boy Nick, and he is calling the parents, right? And he's apologizing. Like, look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know how serious this was until now. Well, that's why I'm calling. Look, I was here all day. I'm sorry. I'm standing next to the detective right now. My mother-in-law would like to speak to you. And the detective's like, how's it going? This is Detective Roney, right? And then while he's waiting, he looks over. And as he looks over, you see the front desk of the police station. Mm-hmm. In the front desk, he sees an old man, and he's like, Dad? And you see old man going, God damn it, fuck, God damn it, Dad. And he walks up, and a woman's like, are you Nick Dunne? She's like, we've been trying to call you all day. We found him outside, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry, my wife's been missing. And the dad goes, bitch. And then he goes, and she goes, we've been trying to call you. You know, your father's been going crazy. You know, where have you been? He goes, I told you, my wife was missing. And then the dad goes, stupid, dumb, ugly fucking bitch. And he goes, Dad, stop it. And then he goes, look, can I just drive him home? And then they look at the detective who has the phone like this, and she's like, go ahead, drive your dad home, Nick. He drives his dad home.
Okay.
Car is super quiet. They don't say anything to each other. Dad's just sitting there. He opens the glove compartment and he grabs clearly like a secret cell phone, right?
Okay.
And he makes a phone call. This voicemail box is full. Damn it. Hangs up. He drops off the dad. He leaves.
Okay.
Fade to black.
So real quick, Ben Affleck made the call, right? Not
Ben Affleck like grabs this clearly like a secret. What would be a secret? Because it's in a glove compartment,
right?
And he calls and it rings, nothing, and then it just goes. This voicemail box is full.
Yeah.
He's like, damn it, and he hangs up.
Okay.
All right. Fade to black.
Does he drop the dad off at like a?
He drops the dad off at a retirement home.
Okay, because
right?
the dad seems
but he doesn't.
little,
You can tell that
a little senile.
But he doesn't say anything to the dad. Like he just drops him off, puts him in, and walks off. Like he's out. Like doesn't even care.
Okay.
All right.
Huh.
Fades out. Cuts back in. We see our girl journaling. Amy. You know, I told like every time you hear the voiceover, you see her writing in a journal.
Okay.
All right.
Word.
Everyone told us marriage is hard work and compromise and more work and more compromise. Abandon all hope, ye who enter. Well, it's not true for me and Nick. Cut to you see her and Nick, right? It's like a montage from earlier, right? And you see her saying, with us 2 years, and it's just good. And they're in a library, and they're so happy, and they're doing their anniversary treasury hunt together, right?
Okay.
And they're having such a good time, they fuck in the library, right? Cut to them at dinner, and they're so cute. They get each other anniversary gifts, and they're so cute, they get each other the same gift.
Okay,
and they
wow.
laugh, and it's sweet, like it's genuine. It's
Yeah.
And they laugh, and they're like, and they look at each other, and they go, this is great. You're like, this is amazing. Like they're just like so in love.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Fades out. Back to present day. Ben tells his sister, like, how, you know, she's like, wait a minute, what'd you say? Like, you see her saying that, and he goes, yeah, I didn't get a lawyer. I said I didn't need one. And she's like, Nick. And he's like, what? And then he tells her like everything else he said. And she's like, Nick, you got to be fucking careful what you're saying to these cops. He's like, I didn't do anything. And she's like, this is bizarre. She's like, you know, I hate to say this, but this also seems like the kind of shit that would happen to Amy, doesn't it? And he's like, I know, she attracts drama. And she's like, I know. And then she's like, yeah, but I don't want her to, like, he's like, yeah, but this is serious. She's missing, Margot. And she's like, I know. And I care about her. Look, whoever took her is definitely going to bring her back. And then she laughs, right? And he doesn't. He's like, kind of looks at her. Cut to the house. We see the cops all searching the house. The detective's there. He's staying with his sister. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're doing a search of the house. A pregnant lady comes up. Excuse me? Can I talk to the lead detective? And lead detective's like, hi, yes. Can I help you? Hi, my name's Noelle. I'm Amy's best friend. What? Yeah, I'm Amy's best friend, and I'd like to talk. Noelle, give me 30 minutes, and I'll come talk to you. Ooh, 30 minutes? That's bath time. Well, we'll talk in between shampoos, Noelle. And the detective, I love how she's like, Okay, you
Whatever.
stupid fucking bitch.
Right.
What do you know I'm going to talk to you, right? Like,
Right.
that's how this works.
Yeah.
So inside, they order a luminol suite because it's definitely blood they found in the kitchen.
Okay.
Remember that little mark that she left?
Yeah.
There's a little speck of blood. She's good, bro. This detective's
okay.
good.
Yeah.
They find out while she orders that, her co-pilot cop comes up and he's like, hey, I just did like a credit report for both of them. Turns out the wife owns everything. She owned the house. She owned the car. She even owns his bar.
Okay.
And she's like, right? And then also a cop goes, we found something upstairs. She goes upstairs, checks the drawer. There's a little white note in it. And she's like, she holds it up and she goes, well, we got our first clue. The note literally says first clue. I know, right, Jeffrey?
Okay.
What the fuck, right?
It's very, well, meta. Yeah.
Dude. You can also see the cop's face of like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
You know what I mean? So go back to, we see that next day, it's the next morning, Margot's waking up her brother, Nick, and she tells him like, yo, be careful when you're out there today. Watch what you're saying, right? So he gets to the office. The in-laws are there. He sees the mom and dad of Amy, right? The mom immediately comes up to him and goes, you should have never moved back to Missouri. You guys should have never moved back here. And he goes, we didn't have a choice, right? And the father's like, hey, we're all scared. We all want to find Amy. We'll get through this together, right? And like he makes them all hug. They go in front of cameras because, this is a famous case now because this girl's like famous.
Right.
And there's cameras everywhere. And they have Nick Dunne talk first. And he goes, my wife disappeared under suspicious circumstances, I guess. If anyone has any info, come forward. And then he backs up. And everybody in the room is like, the fuck? Like the cops, the parents.
Right.
The dad, of course, looks at him and then like grabs the microphone and he's like, my Amy is a sweet girl. Like any normal father. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like she's kind. She's loving. She really is amazing, Amy. We care and we love her. We just want our daughter back. The mom grabs the microphone and like speaks of all her degrees and speaks of how smart her daughter is and how good of a person she is and like how much Amy needs your help. We have a hotline, 1-855 for Amy tips, and our website, findamazingamy.com if you have any information. Right?
Okay.
And they're like, the parents are like crying, obviously. Like genuinely, like they're crying,
right.
So they all pose by this missing picture photos. Everybody's getting pictures, like they all like stand by it. Nick is like smiling, ear to ear, while everyone else is like crying. And of course the cops are like, the fuck is going on?
Right.
Okay. So cut to after they're talking to the cops. This is the parents. It's the parents, Nick, and the lead detective. And they're in the detective's like office.
Okay.
And they're telling the lead detective how, did you look into Amy's ex-boyfriends? And then the cop's like, let me hear about him. And then she goes, well, what about Desi Collins? And they go, what about Desi Collins? And they say, well, in Desi Collins, that was her boyfriend in high school. And he had an incident where when she broke up with him, he tried to commit suicide and he stalked her and all this crazy shit. And then Ben Affleck goes, that happened in high school. And the lead detective goes, well, do you know where this Desi Collins is now? And the dad goes, I heard he just moved to St. Louis, and they're in Missouri. Right. And Ben Affleck goes, to be fair, he is from St. Louis. Right. So then the mom goes, and what about this ex-boyfriend, Tommy? And they say how there's this Tommy and how she filed charges on him and he the charges went through and she had to get a restraining order on this guy. And then the cop goes, and Ben Affleck's like, I didn't hear about this. And she's like, the dad's like, yeah, this happened. And the cop's like, well, do you know what the charges were for? She's like, my daughter never told me, but I do know that it was for something really bad. And the cop's like, okay, right? The parents leave. She goes, Nick, can I talk to you privately? Nick's like, yeah. She shows him the first clue note. She's like, what's this? He goes, oh, that's for our anniversary. She's like, remember the treasure hunt?
Right.
And she goes, well, what does it mean? And he grabs it. He opens it. Although this spot couldn't be tighter, it's a cozy room for my favorite writer. And he thinks, he's like, I know this one. And he smiles, right? And then we hear the voiceover of the woman. Although this spot couldn't be tighter. It's a cozy room for my favorite writer. And you see he walks in a room. What's up?
No, keep going.
So he walks in a room, right? And they walk into his office, and it says clue 2. And him and the cop look at each other, and he's like, right? He's all excited.
Yeah.
He opens the second clue. Hey, handsome man. Hey, handsome man. Let's go undercover. You'll be the spy. I'll be the lover. Let's head over to the little brown house. Play hot husband and sweet dating spouse. And sweet doting spouse. Right? Right then he's looking at it. He's like, I don't know what this means. The cop grabs some lingerie out from like his desk drawer. And she's like, what's this? And he's like, I don't know. Right? And she's like, And she grabs the clue and puts it like in her little evidence bag.
Right.
Okay. Cut to that night. We see Ben speeding to a house in the dark. He runs inside. Okay. When he runs in, the alarm goes off. He's like, shit. He starts putting in the code. It doesn't work. It goes off louder, like whoop, 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 whoop.
Okay.
Like, super loud, like neighborhood wakingly loud.
Yeah.
He's like, shit, right? Right then, he looks at the table. He sees clue 3. Okay?
Okay.
He grabs it. The phone rings. He's like, hello? Yeah, this is Nick Dunne. Yes, it's under my father's name. Yeah, I also live here, right? Right then, you hear the police outside. You hear do-do-do. It's the detective at the door.
Okay.
The lead detective.
Yeah.
He looks at the clue. He looks at her and slowly goes, detective. And she's like, Nick. And he slides the clue real smooth into his back pocket. Right?
Okay.
And she's looking at him. And he goes, are you following me, detective? She's like, I'm just wondering what you're doing here, Nick. He goes, it's my dad's house. I come by once a week to check on it. Is that okay? And she's like, yep. He goes, well, looks like the house is fine. Let's leave. I'll walk you out. And they're like, okay, Nick. And so he walks them out. They go outside. It's pitch black outside, bro. They go outside of the car. She goes, Nick, at first, when I was following you here, I thought, is this a little brown house? And then she cuts on her flashlight, and she shows the house, and it's blue. And Nick goes, nope, still blue. And he gets in his car, and he drives off.
Huh.
I know. Dude, Jeffrey, tell me this movie isn't the shit, bro. Just of like, yo, what the fuck?
I mean, there's some stuff happening, and I don't know what it is. For sure.
But you know what's happening.
Yeah. I think... I'm thinking now maybe Ben Affleck wants to be suspected. That's all I have so far.
Woo, Jeffrey Berner. So the cops are just staring at him, right?
Uh-huh.
And you hear the voiceover. Picture me, like, so the cops stare at him leave as he leaves. He goes home. He opens the third clue. Mm-hmm. You hear the voiceover. Picture me. I'm a girl who's very bad. I need to be punished, and I mean had. It's where you keep your goodies for anniversary 5. So open the door and look alive. Okay?
Okay.
Back to the journal. All right? We see the handwriting. Sam's like, ooh, I know all about Sam. Sam is just sitting there watching by the camera like, oh, I know what's going on. Back to the journal.
Okay.
We see, the hand.
Yeah.
And you hear the voiceover. You want to test your marriage for weak spots. Add 1 recession, subtract 2 jobs. It's very effective. We see Ben Affleck and her in New York. Like, this is in the past, right? Mm-hmm. And they're in this nice high rise. And they're talking about other couples and how they're never going to be like them and how they'll always have each other, right? And everything else is just background noise. Mm-hmm. And he looks at her and he's like, you are so exceptional, baby. And he rubs her head like in the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
Right? And then she looks at him and she goes, time for the bad news. He goes, what, honey? And she goes, my parents, their publisher dropped them. He's like, no. She's like, they're broke. They need to borrow from my trust fund. He's like, how much? $1 million. That's all of it. I know, honey, but it's their money technically. I have to give it to them. What do you mean you're going to give it to them? We have to talk about it. What are we going to do? Honey, I already gave it to him. I'm sorry, but it's their money. I had to. And he stops and he goes, you're right. You're right. I'm glad you did it. Everything else is just background noise. And then they kiss. Okay?
Okay.
Cut to, like, some time passes. Cut to her coming home, and and they're still living in New York, coming home. He's lost his job. He's drinking beers, just playing Call of Duty. Okay. And then she gets home and she's like, oh, more games, huh? And he's like, yeah, I wanted to shoot some folks. And he's just killing people. And then she's like, kind of rolls her eyes. And then he goes, oh, so you can give all the money we have away to your parents, but I can't buy a goddamn video game? And she's like, no one said that, right? And he goes, oh, wait, look, what are you going to get on me because I don't have a job? And she's like, why are you doing this? Why are you coming at me like I'm this nagging, controlling wife? I'm not that person. So don't make me out to be that person. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. It's not your fault. I've never not had a job. I don't know how to do this. She's like, we're going to get through this. You know that. And he's like, I know. Right then the phone rings. And he goes, hello? He goes, what? Wait, Margot, slow down. What? Margot, what? And then you see her eyes get big, and it like slow motions into her face, and you hear the voiceover. And then I knew everything was about to get worse. July 7th, 2 days gone.
Okay.
The jumping back and forth is fucking amazing, bro.
Yeah.
Nick shows up to this huge thing they're having in town for Amy, right? And everyone's there looking for like to help her and shit, like the town. Mm-hmm. And he goes around. He's just saying nice to everyone. He's saying hi to. He's saying hi to everyone, and he's being nice.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just like he's just being nice, and he's hugging everybody, and he's thanking them for coming. The parents and the cops are watching this, and they're just looking at him like, the fuck, because he's like making people laugh, like he's being like cool about it.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Sam saying something. What'd you say, babe?
He looks like the prom king.
Sam said he looks like the prom king. We'll get to that. That's a line, actually, in the movie. Sam's jumping ahead. She can't be an audience member.
Right.
So the cops come up to him, Ben, and they go, she's like, hey, Ben, hey, Nick, I want to ask you about Amy's best friend, Noelle Hawthorne. And then he goes, that's not Amy's best friend. He goes, really? The woman that's pregnant? She lives 3 doors down. She has like 3 kids. He goes, yeah, we say hi to him on the street, but we don't know him. And he walks off, right? Like he walks off from the conversation. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she's like, wow, he acted like he didn't even know his wife's best friend. And the other cop is like, I don't like this fucking dude, bro. Like, this motherfucker did it. You know what I mean? Ben Affleck, you see he notices this guy in shades. And he kind of looks at him. And you can't really see the guy. And then the guy like notices Ben and the guy leaves. And then Ben kind of follows him. And when Ben gets out, like he goes out to the hallway, the guy's gone. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he looks around, he's like, and then he looks around again and he grabs that secret phone out of his pocket and he calls a number. Bring, bring. This voicemail box is full. Shit. He hangs up. Okay?
Okay.
Right then, this woman walks up and she's like, hi, Nick Dunne. He gets on nervous. He's like, hey. And he puts the phone away. And she's like, I'm Shauna Kelly. I'm here I'm so sorry about what's happened to your wife. And I just want to let you know I'm making you a pie and I'm going to bring it over to your house. And she's clearly like flirting with him, right? And I just want you to keep your strength and all that. And he's like, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And she goes, do you mind if I take a selfie with you? And he's like, what? I guess. And she's like, oh, great. And then she takes like a selfie with him smiling. And then he thinks about it for a second. And he goes, excuse me, ma'am, would you mind deleting that photo? And she's like, no, it's a nice picture. He's like, I know it's a nice picture, but like, I just realized that's a bad idea to take that picture. Like, do you mind deleting it? And she's like, no, I'm not deleting it. And he goes to reach for it. And she's like, excuse me, it is my picture and I'll do what I want with it. And she storms off. And he's like, fuck. Right? So, cut to, everybody's outside that was at this town meeting and they're all looking for Amy. Like the whole town, like a huge search party. Right? And you see the mom and she's not talking to Ben. She's pissed. And Ben's like, what's wrong? And then she looks at him and she's like, you're acting like the goddamn homecoming king is what's wrong. Talking to everybody, having a good time. And he's like, I'm not, this is a fucking nightmare. Do you understand? I'm being nice to the people who are volunteering to help find Amy, your daughter. I'm sorry that my mother raised me to be nice. I don't know any other way to be. And then she's like, you're right. She looks around. God, Missouri smells like feces. And she walks off. Right?
Okay.
The detective, they're at the house. Remember how they found out on the credit report that the wife owns everything? They also find out there's a shit ton of purchases for like amazing shit that they can't find in the house. Like big screen TVs, brand new golf clubs, these like cool like drones,
Okay.
but they can't find it. And it's like, well, and I'm talking about like, we're talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth. You know what I mean? Like cool, amazing shit.
Okay.
You know, and they're like, yo, why would you buy all this fucking not have it? Where is it?
Right.
You know what I mean? Something like, what the fuck is this shit? So, cut back to you see the whole town still searching for Amy. Nobody finds anything. On the news, like a Wendy Williams type show, now this is like national coverage. And this woman is saying how Nick Dunn's a piece of shit, right? And they have the picture of him smiling, you know, by the missing picture. They have the picture of him taking the selfie with the woman.
Yeah.
And it's like national news. So now it's just this woman like forming an opinion like, you know, like this guy's an asshole. He definitely did it. We'll do it, right?
Right.
So our brother, he goes, Nick Dunne, he goes and sees Margot that night. And she's like, yo, have you told me everything? And he's like, yeah, of course. And she's like, yo, when you came to the bar that morning, you seemed off. He's like, yeah, I am off. I don't know what's going on. I want a beer with my sister and I want to not be judged for a second. And she's like, all right. They sit and they talk about how much they love their mom and like they wish she was there to help them get through this. And they both kind of fall asleep. The next morning, you know, they fade out. I mean, come back to, you see that journal, right? And you see the hand. And you hear, so here's a strange new sentence. I'm a Missourian. We see Nick and Amy leaving New York now. Like they're moving out in a U-Haul. No money, no jobs, no prospects. And then we heard, Mama Maureen, stage 4, breast cancer. That was the phone call. So we moved to Missouri. I don't mind. I wish he'd have asked is all. You see them pulling up to this big house, the house that they live in the beginning of the movie, like the house that that they're living in now.
Yeah.
Nick gets out the car and he's so happy to be home. He runs up to his mom, big hug, his sister. You know, we see everybody's there and he looks back at her and he's like, come on, right? And in slow-mo, she's like, he's happy, but I don't know if he's happy I'm here with him. I feel disposable. I feel like I could just disappear and he wouldn't care.
Okay.
Back to the present.
It's a little
It's a little
on
what,
the
Jeffrey?
nose.
A little on the nose?
Yeah.
Back to the present. Our boy gets a text. He's at Margot's house. Margot goes to bed, okay?
Okay.
He reads the text. It says, I'm outside. He goes looking out the door. This beautiful girl busts in. She's like 19, 18 years old. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They immediately start making out.
Okay.
He's like, where have you been? I've been calling you. I called you 100 times. Your voicemail is full. She's like, I know. I was at rehearsals. I'm sorry. Oh, tell me you love me. He's like, I do love you. But and she keeps kissing him, right? She's like, oh, touch me. I need you. He's like, look, stop. Shh. Stop. She's like, stop. She's like, you're so hot. He's like, come here. Sit down. And they go sit down. He's like, did you tell anyone anything about us? She's like, no, you told me not to. I didn't. And he's like, you haven't used any phones, anything? She's like, no, I used a disposable phone you bought me. He's like, did you leave red panties in my office? And she's like, maybe. He's like, I need you to be serious, honey. Think, did you leave red panties in my office? And she's like, I don't know. I don't have a red panty counter. He's like, God damn it. Like he's like, take this serious. He's like, this is the last time we're going to see each other until it's safe. And she's like, what do you mean this is the last time we're going to see each other? You told me the last time we got together that you were about to get a divorce. And he grabs her. He goes, don't you say that. You never, ever say that out loud again. Do you understand me? She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to fight. I just want to be with you. She undoes her dress. And Jeffrey, when I say the best titties you have ever seen come out, these are Sam, how good are these titties?
They're not as good as Glorious.
As whose?
Glorious.
No, I'm talking about that we've seen. That a woman that has shown her tits.
Yeah, it's a good scene.
Sam is saying yes. That's a good scene. Yo, it's this, and you seen the first season of True Detective?
Yeah.
Remember the woman he's cheating on his wife with? There's a woman
little.
Woody Harrelson cheats on his wife with in that.
Yeah.
They show her tits, and her tits are also unreal.
Yo, if you're gonna cheat on your wife, you better have good tits.
Sam said if you're going to cheat on your wife, she better have good tits. That's why I only cheat on Sam with good-titted women.
Wow.
Strong relationship.
What about the best?
Thank you, boo-boo.
Nothing but the best. Sam
That's
said
what
that.
Sam
Yeah.
said, nothing but the best. So, she's like, oh, I don't want to fight. I just want to be with you. Takes her tits out. He's like, okay, all right, but then you got to go. They fuck. In
Okay.
Margot's house.
Okay.
Okay? You see the journal again. You see that hand. My husband has come undone. We couldn't save Mama Maureen. We see them at the funeral, right? His mom's funeral. She passed away. I used the last of my trust fund to buy him a bar. So far, it's only cost me money. We see them having really bad sex. Like it's bad. Like he's just fucking her and she's clearly not into it, right? And he uses me for sex now when he wants. And he finishes and he's like, whoo, you want to go to Outback Steakhouse tonight? And she's like, yeah. Yo, Ben Affleck's so funny, bro.
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, that'd be nice. And then cut to another day and she's asking him to stay home and like not go out and like let's just hang out the two of us. And he's like, I thought we weren't gonna be that couple. I thought we'd have our own lives. And she's like, wow. He's like, bye. Right? He's like, but I love you. And then he does like the chin thing. He's like, that like complete honesty, right? And she's like, oh. And as he goes to leave, she's like, hey, I've been thinking, maybe it's time. And he goes, ugh, you gonna hit me with this now? I'm about to leave? No, now is the worst time. And she's like, come on, it would be a new start for us. And I'd have real purpose here. And he goes, a child isn't a hobby. And she's like, not a hobby, inspiration. And he's like, oh, is that what you want? You want to be one of the couples that have a kid to save their marriage? And she goes, save? He goes, rekindle, restart, whatever you want to use. Jesus Christ, I got to go. And then she's like, you're going to leave? You're going to walk out right now? And he's like, yeah, I got to go. And she's like, you fucking coward. And she gets in his face. And she's like, what? He's like, what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And she's like, I can't go on like this. And he's like, oh, you can't? She's like, I won't. He's like, oh, you won't? I'm not good enough for you? This isn't good enough for you? And she's like, not even close. And he grabs her. Boom! And he throws her against the wall hard as shit. He's like, and he stands over top of her, and you hear the voiceover. What scared me wasn't that he pushed me, was that he wanted to hurt me even more. But what really scared me was realizing I'm frightened of my own husband. Cut 2.
Okay.
You see the cops going to this homeless area, just like in Austin, like pretty much that. Looks exactly like that, bro.
Okay.
All right? And they go see this dude, the lead detective. And she's like, Jason? And he's like, what's up, cop, detective? She's like, I need some help from you. You seen this girl? She shows a picture of Amy. And he's like, yeah, I actually do. I have seen her. I remember her. She was like, what? He was like, she was down here like a couple weeks ago. And they were like, what does she want? And then he was like, a gun. He's like, I told her it wasn't my thing. Felt bad. She seemed really desperate. Said she needed to be small to keep it close. And they're like, wow, you sure it was this girl? He's like, hell yeah, I'm sure it was that girl. He's like, you think a girl like this is walking around here? He's like, also, she was dressed all in pink. It was Valentine's Day. Cut to that little journal. For Valentine's Day, I decided to buy a gun. Nick wants me gone, but he won't ask for a divorce. I own his bar. I own him. I'm his only line of credit. I could go home to my parents, but I don't want to believe it. I'm paranoid, but I'd sleep better with a gun. And you see, like, while she's writing this, there's this ominous shots of Ben Affleck looking at her like evil as fuck, fool. You know what I mean? Like, he clearly hates this bitch.
Yeah.
You know? July 8th. 3 days gone.
Starting to seem like he did it.
Yeah, I know.
It's a little bit.
It gets a little bit. But, bro, we'll get there. We see Ben and the sexy girl waking up early in the morning. He's like, oh, shit, baby, get up. You got to go home. She's like, what? He's like, let me help you, come on. And she's like, he gets her to the door. And she's like, promise me we'll talk every day or I'll go crazy. And he kisses her. And he's like, don't go crazy. Go. She takes off, right? He closes the door and he's like, and then you just hear behind him, you fucking idiot. And he turns and it's his sister.
Right.
She's like, you fucking idiot. You lied to me in my fucking face, you asshole. He's like, Margot, I'm sorry. She's like, how old is she? Early 20s? Oh my God. How long have you been doing this? A year and a half. You fucking idiot. You're a liar. You're just like dad. You're literally dad. You're such a cheat. And then she's like, well, who is she? She's one of my students when I was assistant teaching. And you're a cliche. That's what she said. He goes, you don't get it, Margot. You don't get how shitty it was with Amy. I didn't love her anymore. She was just always so fucking dissatisfied with me. Every time I walked through the door, she just hated me. She hated to be around me. She hated to look at me. You don't understand. And then he goes, she's like, Nick, are those panties in your office Andy's? And he's like, Andy doesn't know if they're theirs. He's like, what kind of fucking idiot doesn't know where she leaves her panties, Nick? He's like, I know, I'm sorry. And then she's like, Nick, tonight we have a vigil for your missing wife. And you fucked a college girl this morning. Get it together. Right? And then he's like, which, I mean, she's not wrong.
Yeah, no,
You are not helping anything.
yeah, she's got some fair points.
And she's like, have you watched the news lately? He's like, no, what? She's like, they're killing you, Nick. And she cuts it on. Every news channel is about him and how he's the killer. Right?
Okay, yeah.
And then you see was one girl go, and to bring on defending Nick Dunn's case is the ultimate lawyer for saving people who've murdered their wives, Mr. Tanner Bolt. And the lawyer laughs like, good to see you again, Chandra. It's Tyler Perry.
Okay.
He's pretty much like a Johnny Cochran.
Okay,
You know, like
yeah,
the kind of lawyer who's like famous for getting off bad people, kind of.
Right, sure.
Right? And he laughs and he like talks about how like he's defending Nick and he sees Nick's side of it.
Okay,
Right? But
yeah.
very lawyer jargon, you know?
Right.
So Nick goes home, and when he goes home the next day, there's shit all over his floor. Like, clearly like spray and there's like luminol looking stuff, right? He's like, what the fuck? Right? And he's just looking around at it. Cut to the cops back in the office, the lead detective and her co-pilot, right? And the co-pilot's like, man, I can't believe we haven't arrested this dude yet. Like, we got him. And the detective's like, we don't know shit. And then right then the forensic guy comes in and he goes, that's Amy's blood that was in the kitchen. And it lit up like the 4th of July. Blunt force, club or 2x4. And they show the pictures. Bro, the whole kitchen was covered in blood. Like all of the blood. And he's like, and it's Amy's blood. She fell here. She definitely didn't get back up. Right? And then the one cop, the co-pilot cop goes, my wife said he was the killer. And then I love this. The lead detective's like, well, if Tiffany says. like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
Cut to that night at the vigil. The entire town's there. And it looks like, you seen The Waterboy?
Yes.
You remember in The Waterboy when the mama's sick and everybody comes and they want him
yeah.
to play and they have the candles in the water
Yeah.
cup? It's exactly like that. That same look, right?
Different feel, probably.
Different feel, but
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
I mean, the exact same look. So Nick, he stands up in front of everybody. I mean, the whole town's there. A million media, like so much media at this point. Now it's like OJ shit level. You know what I mean? Nick goes, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, and it means the world to our family. As you know, my wife Amy disappeared 3 days ago. And if any of you have any information, please come forward. And I want to say something. He looks around, he looks at the cops, and he's like, I had nothing to do with the disappearance of my wife. And of course, everybody's like, like, whoa.
Right.
Right? And he goes, I haven't hired a lawyer. I have nothing to hide. Amy is my soulmate. I love you, Amy, if you're out there. And he looks over and he sees the girl that he was cheating on with.
Yeah.
And she's there and she's like, fuck you, asshole. And he's like, I love my wife. Yo, Ben Affleck, he's so good in this, bro. And he goes, so much. But media, you can harass me all you want. But stop harassing the good people of this town. And everybody's like, yeah. And he's like, they don't deserve it, right? And everybody's like, yeah. And then right then you hear, Nick, where is your wife, Nick? And you see Noelle, the pregnant friend neighbor.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? She's like, what did you do to your pregnant wife, Nick? And the town's like, oh. He's like, did you tell them, Nick? Did you tell everybody that Amy was 6 weeks pregnant? And everybody's like, oh my God, what the all the media cameras go, Nick, what about your wife being pregnant?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh shit. He turns around, he just starts running. The cops even run and they help him because it's like they come at this nigga, like all the media, right? They get him in a cop car, they get him out of there. They take him to his house. The lead detective is like, Nick, did you know she was pregnant? He was like, no, Amy's not pregnant. That woman's fucking crazy. She doesn't even know Amy. And he's like, Noelle doesn't know Amy. She's like, no, Noelle doesn't know fucking Amy. And then she's like, well, they look like good friends to me. And she drops a stack of pictures of Amy like going to the park with Noelle and her kids, going on like out to dinner with Noelle and her kids,
Right.
going to lunch with Noelle and her kids.
Right.
Like all these pictures. And he's like, what? That doesn't mean anything. He's like, look, I don't know anything about this. And she goes, Nick, can we really talk? He's like, yeah. And then she goes, all right. And she pulls out like her little cop notepad, and she gets serious. She's like, Nick, don't none of this make sense. I want you to look at this. And she looks at the crime scene, which is like, the table and furniture is all broken glass and shit. She looks at it. She's like, look at this, Nick. There was a struggle here, right? And then she jumps, and lands. And when she does, all the pictures fall off the brain. All the pictures fall off this the wall, the wall frame. Okay. She goes, you mean to tell me there was a life or death struggle, but these pictures didn't fall down? Exactly. And he's like, and then she's like, and what about this, Nick? And they go into the kitchen. Amy lost a lot of blood here in this kitchen, but someone mopped it all up. He's like, wait a second. What? Why would someone mop up the blood if they were trying to stage a crime scene? And she's like, I don't know, Nick. Probably to make us look outside of the house, like this was a kidnapping. But you know what blood in the house means, Nick? Then she's like, you know what we think when we find blood in the house? It means we should look inside the house. And she's looking at him. And then it's quiet for a second. And then she looks at her partner. And she's like, hey, partner, what pisses off you and your wife more than anything else? And he's like, money. He's like, ooh, I know me and my ex fought about it a lot. And then he's quiet. And then she shows him the list of all the shit he bought. Like the golf clubs and all this shit, right? He's like, yo, what the fuck is this? She's like, it's all the stuff you purchased, Nick. He's like, I didn't buy this. She's like, it looks like a pretty cool man cave to me. And he's like, this is a felony. This is identity fraud. Someone should do something about this, right? And then she's like, and also, Nick, I found this interesting. And she hands him another paper. Apparently, a month ago, you bumped up Amy's life insurance to the most it could possibly, like that $2 million or whatever. And he's like, yeah, because she told me to. She asked for that. I didn't bring that up. And the cop gets a call. And she goes, thank you. She hangs up and she goes, that was my forensic, Nick. They test your wife's blood. She was pregnant. And he goes, motherfucker! And he breaks a glass. And they go, Nick, you got something to tell us? And he goes, yeah. I don't want to talk to you again, ever, without a lawyer. The fuck out of my house. And they're like, they pack up their shit and they walk out real calm. Okay? So Margot shows up to the house. Complete media circus. Like to get in the house, everybody's going crazy, right? She walks upstairs. You see our boy on the phone. He's talking to Amy's mom. And he's like, yeah, look, I don't know. And then he hangs up. And then she's like, the sister's looking at him. And she's like, you said Amy didn't want kids. And he goes, Margot. No, he said, she goes, Margot's like, you told me you didn't want kids. And he's like, I lied, Margot. I lied. He goes, why? She's like, I didn't want to tell you. He's like, but Amy's the one who didn't want kids. And she's like, really? Because that is not what it seems like. She's like, I promise. Look, I lied to you and I said that it looked like that I didn't want kids because I didn't want you to have another reason to hate Amy. You already hated her enough and you didn't need another fucking reason. And then she's like, okay. He's like, you want to know how much I wanted to have a kid? I tried. I went to the fertility clinic. And she's like, really? She's like, yeah, but Amy didn't want it. And then the sister's like, who's going to believe this story? He goes, watch. And he goes and he gets a box and he opens it up. He goes, this is a letter from the fertility clinic saying they were going to destroy my semen if we didn't come and pick it up the next day. Right?
Okay.
And then she goes, okay. And he goes, I gave it to Amy. And you know what she did? She threw it in the trash. And the sister goes, but you were already fucking Andy by then. He goes, yeah, but I still loved Amy. And I wanted the baby, Margot. A baby would have been the best thing for us back then. Fuck! And he throws something else. Like he's mad, bro. Right? And then she looks at this box and she opens it up. She's like, a clinic thing. And she's like, yo, what are these? And it's a bunch of letters from her ex. Okay? The Desi Collins guy. She's like, what the fuck? And then it's another, she looks, and it's like some of the clues from the treasure hunts. Remember I said he didn't like doing it because it made her feel bad? It was all the clues that made him feel bad. And she goes, why do you keep this? This is just a box of hate. Why the fuck would anyone keep this? And he goes, I don't know, Go. Maybe I fucking hate her. And she looks at him. And then she's like, you need to tell me everything that's going on. He's like, what are you asking me? She's like, you know what I'm asking. He goes, are you asking me if I murdered my wife? Is that what you're fucking asking me? And she storms off. Right?
Okay.
At the house, it's quiet. He's just sitting at his house alone. He's mad. He's so mad. And he's looking at clue 3, and he starts thinking. Okay? Cut 2, we see the cops. They're at the dad's house. And the lead detective is like, why was he here? The other cop is like, let's just arrest him. We got enough. And she's like, do you know how hard it is to pin a murder case without a body? And he's like, no. And she goes, well, it's fucking hard. And he goes, well, what are you looking for now? She's like, I want a body. All right? You hear it again. You hear the voiceover. Picture me. I'm a girl who's very bad. I need to be punished. And by punished, I mean had. It's where you keep goodies for anniversary 5. So open the door and look alive. And you see Ben Affleck go, like something clicks. All right? We see the cops in the basement of the house. They open the wood shed in the basement of the father's house. A wood stove. Thank you, Sam. They find the diary that we've been seeing the whole movie. You know that journal that she's been writing in the whole movie?
Yeah.
We see it. It's burnt up, but just on the edges.
Okay.
Okay? And, of course, the cops are looking at it. They're like, what the fuck? You see cut back to Ben is sneaking out his house, and you keep hearing that voiceover. You know, anniversaries. If I need to be punished. I need to be had. Right? And you see he sneaks out, and he goes to Margot's house. And he goes to Margot's, he sneaks out where nobody can find him. And Margot's got a woodshed. Right? And he hears the voiceover again. And then cut back to, you see the cops going through the diary, and they're reading. And the end, the last page, the last thing it says is, this man may kill me. He's truly going to kill me. And the cops are like, what the fuck? Right?
Yeah.
It's where you keep goodies for anniversary 5. So open the door. Ben opens the woodshed door and look alive. And he's like, oh, it's everything that was bought from the credit card list.
Oh, okay.
The TVs, the golf clubs.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's a whole woodshed full of all that shit. And he's like, motherfucker. Right? And then on top of it is a present with a little card. Fade to black. Voiceover, you hear.
Dude.
Jeffrey.
Okay.
You hear. I'm so much happier now that I'm dead. Fade in. We see Amy driving. July 5th, the morning of. Ah! Jeffrey! This bitch is alive! She's alive, dog!
Okay.
Technically, I'm missing.
What the
Soon to be presumed dead. And my lazy, lying, cheating husband will go to prison for my murder. Nick Dunne took from me till I no longer existed. That's murder. Now, to fake a convincing murder, you have to have discipline. We see her, a montage, her studying how to fake your own death. Okay?
Okay.
You befriend a local idiot. We see her getting cool with Noelle. Then tell her of your husband's violent temper. Secretly create money problems. You see her buying all the shit. And with the help of the unwitting, bump up your life insurance. And you see while he's drinking, watching the game, she asks him to sign something. And he's like, yeah. All right. Purchase getaway car from Craigslist. Oh, also, you need to package yourself around town as a good, upstanding citizen so people really mourn your loss. You see her on a jog, like saying hi to everyone. That's why it's being super nice to everyone around town. Dude, this was a long con, Jeffrey. Do you understand what I am telling you?
Yes.
What the fuck, bro? Do you realize the patience this woman has? This is Shawshank Redemption level patience.
But with way more hate.
Way more hate.
Yeah.
Almost so much hate, it's love. I don't know what this is. Bro, Jeffrey. America loves a pregnant woman like it's so hard to spread your legs. Now what's hard is faking a pregnancy. Get pregnant idiot to come to your home. You see Noelle come to her house. Clean toilet of all water. Ply her with lemonade. Steal her urine. And now a pregnancy is a part of your legal record.
Dude.
I know, Jeffrey. Wait for clueless husband to start his day. Off he goes. You see him driving off. The clock is ticking. Create a crime scene, but with few mistakes, to create doubt. You see her meticulously planning the crime scene. Now you need to bleed a lot. A lot. I mean a lot. A head wound kind of bleed. You see her taking her blood, bro, just putting that shit in a bucket. A bucket, my nigga. Just drains herself, right? As she's reading a book. Calm, bro. She's just reading a book calmly as she's just draining blood. We see her spread the blood all over the kitchen. Now, clean, but poorly, how he would. Just another dig.
Dude.
Leave a little something behind. A fire in January, a fire in July, and you see what would be the club, like the murder weapon. Uh-huh. She puts her blood on the edge and then puts it in the fireplace, sets it on fire, but doesn't burn it all the way. All right. We see her do that, and you need a diary, a full diary with years of evidence. You start with the fairy tale days. You see her plan. Bro, she's been writing this diary for years, my nigga. You start with the fairy tale days, the early days. Make them likable, but that'll be easy. Those are true. Right? Then make it interesting. The fear, the threat of violence. Burn it just the right amount. Make sure the cops find it. Honor the tradition of your special treasure hunt. And then while the world will hate Nick for killing his wife, I'll go out to the lake with pills and stones and kill myself. And they will find me like how Nick Dunne treated me. Garbage, thrown away. And Nick will die too. We will be gone. But I never existed. Nick loved who I pretended to be. The cool girl. The girl who dyes her hair. She's cool. She's hot, she's fun, and she's always fucking game. She never gets angry, she always smiles, and only presents her mouth for fucking. When I met Nick, I knew he wanted a cool girl, so I tried to be one. I wax stripped my pussy. I watched sports games. I even watched Adam Sandler movies while drinking cold beer. I blew him regularly. I lived in the moment. I was fucking game. I even enjoyed some of it. He teased things out of me I didn't know existed. But I made him smarter. I made him sharper. I forged the man of my dreams. July 5th, 10 hours gone.
Wait, so did he not slam her against the wall and stuff though?
What do you think, Jeffrey?
I don't know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Remember how you said earlier he either killed her or he's just a big clueless idiot.
Right.
And remember I also said Ben Affleck's really good in this?
Yeah.
You know what really gives it away, I think, is when he's in the Law and Order office when he's in the office going, doom, 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 doom.
Right.
It's like Law and Order. That's when you know, oh, he didn't do it. Looking back,
right.
That moment right there is oh, he definitely didn't do it.
Right.
Nobody who did it is that confident.
Yeah. He's too, yeah.
And then Ben Affleck's so good, though. He's so oblivious, you do think he did it. He's such a good actor.
Right.
And then when you see her, you're like, he's just a really good actor. He was just being oblivious.
Right.
Legitimately. It's genius.
Dude.
I know, Jeffrey. This is one of the best mindfuck movies I've ever seen in my life. So, you hear her. We were the happiest couple we knew. But Nick got lazy. Because someone I didn't agree to marry dragged me to be penniless to the navel of this country and then found a newer, cooler girl. You think I'd let him destroy me and be happy? No way. He doesn't get to win. We see her at Home Depot buying a bunch of shit, right? She completely changes her look, her hair, all that shit. She goes to this hotel room in the middle of nowhere. Nick needed to learn. Grown-ups work for things. Grown-ups pay. Grown-ups suffer consequences. She takes out a hammer. Bam! Knocks herself out right in the eye. Fade to black. Nick goes to Margot. Do. She opens the door. She's like, I don't want to. He goes, I need 20 seconds. I need just 20 seconds. No judgment, no anger. Just listen to me. 20 seconds. She's like, what? He takes her to the shed. She's like, this is all the stuff from the credit card. That fucking bitch. Like, it hits Margot immediately.
Right.
Like, I knew this mother. But she knew. She remember earlier she said, it seems like Amy to go missing.
Right.
She's a drama queen.
Right.
Bro, I love the sister because she was like, oh, right when she sees it, she's like, oh, this bitch. Right? And she's like, I'm so sorry. I actually thought, and he looks at it, he goes, it's okay. I would have thought the same thing. She's like, what's this present on top? He's like, I don't know. Let's find out. They go in the room, they open it, right? They read the card. Dear husband, I know you'll think you're moving through this world unseen. I know where you've been, and I know where you're going. Follow the river, up, up, up. Sit back, you're done. She's like, the fuck does that mean? And Ben Affleck thinks about it. Up the river, prison. And they're like, and then the sister's like, you married a fucking psychopath.
Right.
And then he goes, Ben thinks about it for a second, and he goes, the morning of this anniversary, I was going to ask for a divorce. She goes, really? And she goes, but she knew. She knew. Right when I was about to tell it to her, she told me, hey, before you say anything, I want you to go somewhere, and I want you to think about our marriage. She knew I would go to Sawyer Beach. She knew that I liked it there and that there's no one ever there. And then they both go, no alibi. And he goes, and I thought about it, and I realized that was the right decision. I needed to divorce her, but by the time I got home, she was gone. He goes, damn. That's why he was acting weird at the bar. Remember?
Right.
That's because he was about to go home and divorce his wife. Okay? And he goes, Margot, honestly, part of me was relieved when I thought she was gone. He's like, damn. They open up the gift. It's the Punch and Judy puppets. You know those puppets like where they like you put your hands in them and they're like this? And it's like the wife and husband.
Yeah.
And they're always arguing.
Yeah.
It's those puppets, right? And they're like, Punch and Judy. He's like, what does this mean, Amy? And he's like, well, I guess I'm Punch. And the sister goes, well, you know Punch kills the wife in this story. And then they think about it, and the sister goes, does Missouri have the death penalty? And then they both go, fuck. July 6th, one day gone. We see Amy making a calendar of all this shit she's got to do still, with the final thing saying kill herself. All right? She goes outside, and this neighbor is like, hi, neighbor. And you see Amy. Amy has a sweet southern accent now. And the neighbor's like, what's your name? Where are you from, honey? And she's like, Nancy, from New Orleans. The name's Nancy. And she's like, well, see you around. Oh, you will. And then she walks off, right?
Okay.
July 7th, second day gone. 2 days gone. Mm-hmm. We see her go to a library. She goes to a computer. She looks up all the stuff on how she's missing. And she looks at like Nick, and she's just so happy. Like everything's going to plan.
Right.
All right? She's at the pool that day. The neighbor comes up. How's it going, Nancy? It's hot out today. And then she goes, well, she hasn't said she's from New Orleans yet. The neighbor goes, where are you from again? Nebraska? And she's like, from Nolans. She's like, oh, okay. And then right then a guy comes up and he hits on the other girl, the neighbor girl, like tries to like hit on her. Uh-huh. And she's like kind of like flirts with him but kind of brushes him off. And then she looks over at Amy, and Amy's got a black eye. Even though she's changed her hair and all this color, like all this. She has shades on. She's got a huge black eye from the hammer. And then the neighbor girl's like, we have the same taste in men, honey. Let me guess. He was watching the big game and you just wouldn't shut up. And then Amy goes, nope. And then she goes, ooh, how about you caught him rubbing on some hot skank and he apologized to you by busting you up one real good. And then Amy's like, voice. And she's like, what? I went to the bar where he worked. Flashback. I went to surprise him. Then that night, out comes him with this girl who had no business being in a bar. You know, on the first night we met, he walked me by this bakery that was having this little sugar storm. And before he kissed me, he leaned in and did this. And she rubs her lips. You see him outside with the girl. It's a snowstorm. Amy's watching like can't believe that her husband's like hugging up on some girl.
Yeah.
And he's about to kiss her, and then he stops and he rubs the snow off the young hot bitch's lips.
Yeah.
And then he kisses her. And you see bro,
Right.
you see, as you can imagine, the rage, just the pure rage. But she's just like the camera comes in on her face. And then even the neighbor girl goes, that is the most disgusting thing I have ever heard. And Amy's like, thank you. And then like smokes a cigarette. Like, I know, right? He deserves I can't tell you what's going on, but that's why I'm doing all this.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it. I love it because it's like, yeah, bro. It's the reason it makes sense. If you know women and you know relationships and like man, like love, like bro, fool. The moment you see him rub that snow off her lips, you're like, yeah, bro, this bitch is finna kill you, fool.
Yeah.
She's gonna kill you. Like leaving you is not enough.
Yeah, that's real meow meow rage.
Whoo, and that might be the scariest one.
Yeah.
Because it can do shit like this.
Yeah.
Like plan out stuff for years.
Yeah.
That's scary, Berner.
Yeah.
They were still married, and for years she plotted this.
And she kept them together. Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
So we see Nick take a flight somewhere. July 9th, 4 days gone. Okay?
Okay.
Nick goes and he sees Tanner Bolt, Tyler Perry.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And Tanner Bolt, he sees him and he's like, Nick Dunne, I've been sitting by the phone waiting for you, my friend. Like, I knew you. Like, oh, I knew you were calling.
Yeah.
You know? Cut to, you see Tanner Bolt laughing. And then Ben Affleck's like, you don't believe me? And he's like, no, I do believe you. It's just the craziest thing I've ever heard. He goes, oh, you're going to laugh me out the building. He goes, oh, hell no, I'm in. I'm all the way in. He goes, this is why you get me, Nick. I win the unwinnable cases. That's why my retainer is $100,000. And Nick's like, $100,000? He goes, don't worry about it. For this, we'll figure something out. I love it. He's like a good lawyer. He's like, oh, this case is too high profile.
Yeah, yeah.
So he goes, what's the plan? He goes, well, we got to change the story. And he goes, and Nick goes, why? Because she's telling a better story? And he goes, no, Nick, she's telling the perfect story. Like, do you realize what we're dealing with? He goes, everybody looks at Amy as this beautiful, sweet girl. And we need to look at her for who she is. The mind fucker of the first degree.
Right.
Okay? He goes, there has to be someone she's wrong, someone in her path. And then he names the two guys, the Desi Collins guy from high school, and then the other guy who got in trouble. Like the parents told the cops that she had run-ins with.
Right.
And Tanner Bolt makes a phone call, immediately gets both of their addresses. And he's like, this is why you hired me. I get it done. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, I'll see you soon. We'll keep in touch. He leaves. Our boy Nick goes and sees the Tommy guy. The guy not the guy from high school who was writing the letters, but the other guy.
Okay.
Who apparently, did something and the daughter wouldn't say what.
Right.
Okay? He goes and he sees him. They start talking. And then Nick goes, look, I just want to be blunt, man. She said you got physical with her. And then the guy goes, physical with her? No, dude. She said I raped her. First degree. And then Ben Affleck's like, oh, shit. Did you do it? And then the guy leans in and goes, did you? Yo, Jeffrey, this woman's crazy.
Yeah, this is, yep.
I think she's the scariest villain I've ever seen. This is terrifying.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Because this isn't like a It Clown monster.
No, this is a kind of believable.
This is a very believable. This is if I told you this was a true story, you wouldn't be like, no way.
Right.
It'd be more like, well, I can't believe I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, this person probably exists.
Yeah, this probably happened actually in some
Yeah.
form. I'm sure that this is based off a book. So I'm sure he got it from something.
Right.
So, Ben Affleck goes, well, if you didn't do it, why didn't you go to trial? He's like, man, trial? Fuck no. She had everything on me. I pled down. Sexual assault 1, no jail time. But because of that, I've been unemployed for 8 years. I'm on a neighborhood sex offenders watch list. I can't get a fucking date, man. And then Ben Affleck's like, walk me through what happened. He goes, I meet Amy in college. We're at this party. She's beautiful and perfect. And, you know, girls like a fixer-upper. But Amy annexed me. She made me her fucking business, man. I remember once she bought me all these ties, and we went 20 rounds over it, just arguing about ties. He goes, Sweat, so you broke up with her? He goes, no. I just backed away, gave her space, thought it was no big deal. He goes, and then what? Then one night, she comes over with a bottle of bourbon and my favorite, my album of my favorite band, and we have rough, crazy sex, and we get super drunk. He goes, really? He goes, yeah. I mean, he goes, it was super rough, but it was consensual. She was screaming for it. Next morning, I wake up hungover, cops at my door saying I raped her. And he goes, what? He goes, yeah, man. She has marks all over her body. She has these lacerations all over her wrists and my semen all in her. And she went and got the rape kit. It looks like I tied her up to my bed and raped her, man. And get this, the cops go in my room and what do they find tied on my headboard? And Ben Affleck goes, the ties. He goes, you know it. This bitch is crazy, bro. She's crazy, dog.
Yeah, no, I agree.
she's like, but she keeps outdoing herself as the movie keeps going.
Right. Jeez Louise.
And then he goes, wow. He goes, and the dude goes, I haven't seen Amy since that day. And then I see you. And I go, wow. She graduated from being raped to being murdered. So we see Amy and the neighborhood girl she's cool with. They watching the news, and they're watching the news about Amy, right? Mm-hmm. And the Noelle girl's on the news talking about how great Amy was and how they were best friends. And the neighbor girl laughs, and she's like, "Man, I don't see what everybody sees in this Amy girl." And then Amy looks at her, and she's like, "What don't you like about her?" She's like, "Oh, it just seems like an uppity rich bitch to me." And Amy's like, "People really love her," like, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, she seems uppity. Spoiled girl, married a rich asshole. She paid the price, I think. And then she gets up and goes to pee. And Amy's like, and she grabs her drink and spits in it and puts it back. Yo, she's the worst, bro. Yeah. I know that's not as bad as some other stuff.
Yeah, but
just it proves it.
Consistent.
She's very consistent.
Yeah.
So we see Nick. He calls Margot, right? And he calls his sister and he tells her, hey, I got Tanner Bolt. It's going to cost me $100,000. And the sister's like, yo, I don't give a fuck. I got $67,000 in savings. We can put up my house. We can do this. Like, fuck this bitch. I'll do whatever I can to help you. I love you. You're my brother. Mm-hmm. You know, and he's like, thank you. I love you too. Hang up. On the news, they're talking about the twin sister, Margot. And on the news, they're implying that him and like her and Nick are like having sex. Ooh. Like are having incest sex. And like that's why he killed his wife.
Right.
Like, you know, just Wendy Williams type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just throwing,
So you see Amy watching this on the news, and she goes outside, and she celebrates with glee, and she goes to a payphone, and she makes a call to 911. I'd like to report strange activity near the woodshed of Margot Dunne, and hangs up. Goes in her house, marks that off her calendar.
Okay.
This bitch, bro. Type A for sure, Sam says. Nick pulls up to a mansion. Okay? He rings the doorbell. The great Neil Patrick Harris answers.
Okay. Fun.
Right? NPH. Mr. Dunn. Hey, Mr. Collins. And he goes, hey, I saw you. You were at the volunteer center. Remember I said that there was a guy in glasses? Mm-hmm. And he couldn't really see who he was?
Oh, it was Neil Patrick.
It was Neil Patrick
Harris.
Harris.
Always Neil Patrick
Harris. Always, dude. If you ever see a guy and you're not sure, it was Neil Patrick
Harris, yeah.
And he goes, I saw you at the volunteer center. And Neil Patrick's like, yeah, I was there. I wanted to help. And then he's like, look, man, I hope you don't mind me coming by, but I got this address from these letters. You keep writing my wife, and he holds them up. And then he goes, it's good to see Amy kept those. And he's like, I always wondered why you guys kept in touch. And Neil Patrick's like, she was my first serious girlfriend. And then Ben Affleck's like, well, why did you break up? And Neil Patrick's like, that's a strange question. And he's like, well, did you cheat on her? Did you hit her? Were you mean to her? That's a rude question. I just like, it's Neil Patrick just being like, that's a rude question. And then he goes, look, Amy told me you stalked her, you threatened her, and when she broke up with you, you tried to kill yourself. And you had to be institutionalized. And then Neil Patrick looks at him and he goes, your wife is missing. And you came here to tell me that? And he goes, I figure there just might be another side to this story. And Neil Patrick slams the door in his face. Okay?
Okay.
So we see back at the office, our lead detective is reading the diary. And the co-pilot cop's like, you're reading that diary again? She's like, it interests me. And he's like, look, we know he did it. Why are you reading it again? And she's like, it just don't make sense. Why did he go to his dad's house to burn it, but not finish burning it? Right?
Right.
And then he's like, yeah, because you caught him. Remember the alarm was going off? She's like, yeah, but this whole thing just seems real hinky to me. Doesn't feel right. And then the cop goes, isn't usually the simplest answer the correct one? She's like, yeah, I don't find that to be true. I just love the lead detective be like, yeah, I don't agree with that. July 10th, 5 days gone. You see Tanner show up to his house. Like, right, he goes, knocks on the door, and Nick opens the door, and Tanner Bolt's like, Elvis is in Missouri. Tyler Perry literally says that line. Okay? So he tells Tanner everything that's going on and how Amy loves to play God and how the treasure hunts are critical, especially this one. And Tanner goes, why? He goes, because it's a tour of my infidelities. He says all the clues were at places that we would fuck. And Margot's like, oh my God, Nick, get a hotel. He's like, we couldn't. She checks my credit cards. He's like, why didn't you put the hotel in the Andy girl's name? He's like, her parents check her credit card. She's 18. She's like, God, you're an asshole. He's like, what? Yo, Ben Affleck's so good, bro.
Yeah.
And so he goes, look, all the clues were at places we would fuck. And then Tanner's like, oh, the panties in your office? He goes, yep. He goes, all the shit in the woodshed. And then she goes, you would fuck in my woodshed? He said, we had limited options. And then he goes, in my dad's place. And he goes, well, the panties were in your office. All the shit was in her woodshed. What the hell is in your dad's place, Nick? And he's like, I have no idea. So they go drive there, and they get there. There's police tape all around the dad's house. And the Tyler Perry is like, well, Nick, whatever was in there was definitely important. So Tanner, he goes, have you talked to Andy lately? You know, the girl you were cheating on her with. And he's like, no, I haven't talked to her, but she's fine. She won't say anything. And he's like, no, she's going to go public soon. He's like, no, she won't. He's like, Nick, don't take it personal. They always go public. And he's like, what? He's like, look, we got to go public about the woodshed thing. But if we do, everybody's going to go after Margot. Cops too. He's like, why would everybody go after Margot? He's like, once they find out that all the stuff's in her woodshed, everybody's going to think she's an accomplice, and they're going to think that she helped you kill your wife. And then Margot's like, oh, my God. He's like, well, what do we do? And Tanner's like, there's only one thing we can do. Find Amy. And he's like, yeah? He's like, I got two of my best guys on it, Secret Service. Only problem is, where do we start, Nick? And he's like, I have no idea. Cut to, we see Amy. She's out with that neighbor girl and that guy who was flirting with her that one day. Who was flirting with the neighbor girl.
Yeah.
And they're all out mini golfing. Right?
Okay.
And they're having fun, and the guy's flirting with the neighbor girl, and the neighbor girl's liking it. And then Amy's kind of hating, and she's like, I thought we were steering clear of men today. And then the other girl's like, oh, he's nice. We're just having fun. And then they start talking about exes and whoop-de-whoop. And she goes, you know, I was going to kill myself because of my ex. This is Amy saying this. Mm-hmm. And they're like, really? She was like, yeah, but I changed my mind. Why should I die? I'm not the asshole. And then she hits a hole in one. And she's like, yeah. She celebrates and she jumps up. When she does, all of her cash out of her little money pouch, a little fanny pack, falls out. This is all the cash that she's put to her name. This is like maybe 40, 50 grand.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the neighbor girl and the other dude look at her, and they go, what was that? And she goes, oh, just a bunch of ones. And then, that was a pretty fat stack. What are you, a stripper or something? And then she's like, no. And they're staring at her, and they're like, we're just playing. And she's like, gets all nervous, right?
Yeah.
Cuts to her that night. She's counting all the money, and she hears something outside, and she gets like real scared. Like you can tell she's nervous. This is all the money she's got to her name, bro.
Yeah.
So Tanner tells Nick he is going to put him on the Sharon Sheamer show, right? It's like this big, like it's going on like Good Morning News America with like Gail King. It's like that kind of shit, right? And he's like, and you're going to admit you cheated on your wife with Andy. He's like, hell no. I can't do that. Everybody's going to hate me. He's like, you have to beat her to it. If you don't, she's going to come out first, and it's going to make you look really bad. And then he's like, and also, we got to get you ready. She's going to ask you real questions. So I got to set you up, right? And he's like, damn, really? And he's like, look, Nick, this is a case about people liking you. That's how this case is going to work. We got to get people to like you. And he's like, going on her show, we can get millions of people to like you. And then Nick thinks about it, and he goes, maybe we don't need to reach with millions. And Tanner's like, what do you mean? He's like, maybe we just need to reach one. Cut two. We see Amy get a knock on her door. She hides all her money. She opens the door. It's the neighbor girl and the dude. They just bust right in, and they slam the door. They're like, yeah, we heard you're leaving today. We thought we'd help you clean the place. And they start going through the place while the other girl's leaning on the door. Like, yep, figured we'd give you a hand. And the guy's looking around, and he goes through all her shit. He doesn't see anything. And he looks at her, and he's like, where's the money, sweetheart? And then the other girl's like, look under her dress. And he goes to look under her dress, and Amy slaps his hands away. And she looks at the girl, and she's like, I thought we were friends. You let him talk you into this? And then she's like, honey, I talked him into this. I love that. I'm just like, it's her thinking like, oh, win with girl power. It's like, what? No.
Yeah.
You're a bad girl.
Yeah, I'm evil. And then Amy's like, I'll call the cops on you both. And then the girl walks up to her real slow and smiles. And she goes, your glasses are fake. Your hair is dyed. You say your name's Nancy, but you don't ever answer to it. And you ain't calling the cops. And you know what else? I can tell you ain't never been hit before either. And she grabs her head and like, bam, slams it against the wall. Super hard. And then they take all her money. And then they go, you got to be careful out here, honey. There are people way worse than us out here. Let's go. And then they leave, bro. And Amy's like, and she grabs a pillow and she's just like, ah! Right? Mm-hmm. She leaves the hotel. She drives to another hotel. She parks in the parking lot. She tries to sleep. Security comes up. Man, you can't sleep here. She drives off, right? She heads to a gas station. She's just crying. Mm-hmm. She goes to the payphone. She makes a call. You can't hear who she's talking to. But you just hear her sobbing. Like, fade to black. July 12th, 7 days gone. We see our boy Nick, all right? He's practicing before he goes on the show. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I didn't kill my wife. I didn't kill my wife. Every time he says it, Tyler Perry throws a gummy bear at him. And he's like, every time you answer a question tense or awkward, I'm going to hit you. So he asks him a question. He does it again. He hits him. He answers him another question. He hits him because he keeps answering everything awkwardly. He's like, what about you cheating on your wife, Nick? He's like, I had a moment of weakness. A moment isn't 15 months, Nick. Like, what about you cheating on your wife? And he goes, I disrespected my wife. I disrespected my marriage. I'll always regret that. And then Tyler Perry's like, that works. And he's like, what are you going to wear? And he holds up this tie. He's like, I'm going to wear this tie. Amy got it for my birthday once. And then Margot's like, you hate that tie. He goes, nope. I love this tie just like. He ties it up. I love my wife. And he smiles. All right. So you see Amy. She dumps her car and she goes to this casino. She's drinking and she's waiting. Somebody taps her on the shoulder. She turns and she smiles. She's like, it's Neil Patrick Harris.
It's always Neil Patrick Harris.
I told you, dog. You know that. He shows up. She's like, it's you. I'm so sorry. She cries. She's like, I'm sorry. Cut to her telling him this huge lie about like how she's been on the run and whoop-de-whoop. And last week he threatened to kill her, and that's why he left. And that's why, if he ever finds her, then he's going to kill her. And I lost the baby because I was so ashamed and afraid. And then Neil Patrick is like, he is looking for you. He even came to my place looking for you. He told me you kept all the letters I was writing you. And she said, knowing you were out there was the only thing that kept me going. And then he's like, it means this nigga's crazy about this girl.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then he's like, let's go to the police. And she's like, I can't. Everyone would hate me. And it's quiet. And she goes, real evil. She goes, is it wrong to want Nick to go to prison? And then he's like, no, he should go. And then he's like, I'm setting you up in my lake house. And she's like, why are you so good to me? Right? And then they leave. As they go to leave, the TV comes on. Breaking news. You see the Andy girl. My name is Andy Fitzgerald. And you see Amy watching and she's like, you little slut. And then you see her, she's dressed like all proper, the Andy girl. And Amy's like, why the fuck is she dressed like a babysitter? The girl with the giant come on me tits, dressed like a Mennonite, right? And then you see Andy, right? And he's on the news. She's on the news, and she's apologizing for cheating on Nick Dunne and what she did, and she's been cheating on him for a year and a half, and whoop-de-whoop. And you see the mom and the dad there of Amy.
Yeah.
And they're like, we love Nick Dunne like a son. That ends today. We believe Nick killed our daughter. Our amazing Amy. And they start crying, right? So Tanner, we see Tanner. He hears the news, right? And he's like, yo, we gotta bow out of the interview. This changes everything. And then Ben Affleck says, no, it changes nothing. We got to do it. He's like, it changes everything, Nick. We're on the defensive now. It looks like you killed your wife. He's like, trust me. I can handle this. Let me do the interview. He's like, I can't risk it. He's like, let me do it. I got it. Trust me. And Tanner's like, let's do the interview.
Okay.
We see Ben head in to the studio. He sits down nervous. The interviewer kind of looks at him and like smiles like evilly. And then you hear, it's quiet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll tape. Fade to black. Cut to them in the car. I can't believe it. I can't believe how good you were. Holy shit. Holy shit. Tanner's like, let's not celebrate too early. Let's not celebrate too early. When this airs tomorrow, we're looking at a new you. But until then, don't show your face. He's like, all right. He smiles. No problem. Okay? We see Amy and Neil Patrick Harris show up to his private lake house.
Okay.
And Amy's watching on the news as they talk of, of Nick cheating on her, and it's all over the news, right? And Neil Patrick Harris is like saying all these fancy things about his place. He's just bragging about how rich he is, right?
Okay.
And she's kind of just watching the news, and he cuts the news off. He's like, also, let's get you some new clothes. You need it. I'll take you upstairs. Your bed is Savoir, best sleep you'll ever get. And and she's like, oh, sleep is what I need. I'm so exhausted. He's like, well, I'll leave you to it. Amy, I'm so happy you're here. And I don't want you to worry one moment. And then he cuts the TV on, and he's like, there are cameras everywhere. Anyone caught coming or going will be recorded. You are more than safe. And he walks up real close to her, and he's like, and I'm not going to let you get away this time. Not again. And he kisses her. And you see her eyes go like, yeah, like, oh, fuck.
Right.
Like, oh, this might be worse
Right.
than anything I planned.
Yeah, no, I think she wants to be the only crazy person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can see how it'd be hard to guess this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he leaves, he closes the door. July 13th, eight days gone. She wakes the next morning, she's checking out all the cameras, she's looking at all like the security angles, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, good morning. She's like, he scares her. She's like, don't do that. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, what have you been up to? And then she's like, nothing. He's like, Amy, I'm not Nick. She's like, I know, it's just so hard for me. So many years under someone's thumb. He's like, I know just what that feels like. She's like, you were never under my thumb, Desi. He's like, your leash then? But don't worry about it. A new start. And he shows her all this shit he bought her, like all these fancy dresses and all this shit. Mm-hmm. He's like, the sooner you get back to normal, the better. Tonight, we watch Sharon Schreiber's show. Then after that, we move on. I'll be back tonight. I'm looking forward with my reunion with the real Amy Elliott. And he leaves. All right?
Okay.
The next night, Margot comes over our boy Ben's house to watch the Sharon show. Amy comes over. Amy's with NPH, and they're watching it from their house. Mm-hmm. You see the interviewer lady. Nick Dunne, you're the most hated man in America. And then as you see Amy is watching and she's eating ice cream, and she looks over at Neil Patrick Harris, and she's like, I bought him that tie. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right? And then she goes, did you kill your wife? And Nick's like, no, I did not. But were you unfaithful? Yes, I was. And for that, I'm deeply ashamed. But I am desperate to find my missing wife. Nick, I just think you're a liar. You didn't come, why would I believe you now after you've been lying so long in your marriage? And he goes, look, I didn't come forward because I knew it would make me look bad. But just because I'm not a murderer doesn't mean I'm a good guy. I was a con artist. I met my wife 7 years ago, and I was transfixed. I was just an average guy from an average place, and you see Amy's now kind of sit up, right? And he goes, and I met a woman who dazzled me, and I wanted her to love me. So I pretended to be better than I was. I promised to work harder, but instead of doing what's right, I did what was easy. And she's like, the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the reporter lady goes, you talk as if you're a man who can make amends, as if your wife is still alive. I believe she is still alive. Really? Yeah. Can you do me a favor, Nick? Can you look in that lens right there and tell me, what would you say to your wife if she could hear you? What would you say? I'd say, Amy, I love you. You're the best person I've ever known. And I've taken myself to the woodshed for how I behaved. And you see Amy, she's like, the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was, okay, what does that mean? You know? And he goes, and if you come back, and he puts his hand on his chin, I'll be the man I promised to be. I love you. Come home. And then Amy's like, can't believe he said that shit, right? Margot immediately checks the computer. Everyone online, like on Twitter and all that shit, is loving him. Like, he's getting mad love. Everybody loved the interview. He's going over great. Everybody thinks he didn't do it now. Right then, though, the cops show up to Margot's house. Margot's all nervous. Margot Dunne, we have a search warrant for the property. Apparently, a stranger called and left an anonymous tip about your woodshed. You see the cops bust in. They open the woodshed. They find all the shit. So now, of course, they're like, oh, Margot Dunne's arrested.
Right.
Because she's in on this murder, clearly. So they arrest Margot, and he's like, yo, what the fuck? Cut back to Amy. Desi cuts the TV off. And he's like, all right, it's over. It's about us now. And she's like, Desi, look. And he's like, 20 years you kept me dangling, Amy. 20 years. You came to me last night. You chose me. I'm not going to force myself on you. And Amy's like, I understand, Desi. I've just been mistreated for so long. And she starts crying. And she's like, I forgot how to behave. And then he's like, I'll move back in with you tomorrow here, and we'll work it out together. I just want you to be you again. And he grabs her hair, right? Cut to, we see Tanner. He's like, Tanner and Nick, are going into the police station. And his lawyer's like, yo, you just got to let me handle everything. He's like, no, they can't take Margot like this. This is crazy. He's like, I'm going to talk to him. He's like, look, Nick, that's fine, but we have to tell them as little as possible. All they want is a confession from you right now. That's all they need. And then he goes, I don't need to confess anything. The truth is my defense. And then Tanner's like, They go into the cop's office, right? And she shows like a picture of all the stuff. And she's like, you recognize these presents? And he's like, yep, I do. And all the presents that she's got, like these of shit that she's gotten him, right? Okay. The punch dolls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, yep, yeah, I do. And he's like, what about this? And he holds up Amy's diary. He's like, no, I don't recognize that. And she's like, well, this is your wife's handwriting, isn't it? And then Tyler Perry goes, he isn't a handwriting expert. And then he goes, yeah, that's my wife's handwriting. And then Tyler Perry just looks at him. Like, right? And then he goes, the cop goes, well, let's play true or false, Nick. He brushed the sugar off my lips to taste me. Yep, that's true. You once mistaken the word quinoa for queen woe. He's like, yeah, that is true. She wanted to get pregnant, so you assaulted her. No, hell no, that's absolutely not. That is not true. She tried to buy a gun. I doubt that, but I don't know. This man may kill me. The last words. And Ben Affleck goes, kind of a convenient end note, don't you think? And the cop kind of looks at him. And then right then, the cop, somebody goes, like, detective. She leaves the room. Tyler Perry looks at him and goes, for future reference, you are not a handwriting expert. That's all he said. He just stares at him like, bro, don't you ever say anything. Ever. So right then, she comes back in and she goes, look what I found. The missing handle. We tested it. The one they found in the fireplace.
Okay.
With the blood on it that she put.
Oh, yeah.
Like what would look like be the murder weapon.
Yeah.
He goes, fire doesn't erase blood, Nick. This is all we needed. Nicholas Dunne, you are under arrest for the murder of Amy Dunne. But I didn't fucking... And Tyler Perry's like, Nick! Fade to black. July 26th, 21 days gone. Okay?
Okay.
We see Amy. She is dressed up now like a super rich wife. She's living with Neil Patrick Harris.
Okay.
And she's like, more coffee. Like, she doesn't look all run down and changed. Like, now she looks like how she did in the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like a beautiful, rich blonde, you know? Mm-hmm. He's like, yes. She's like, honey, do you remember when we skipped school that one time and drove to the Cape? And he's like, I do. And she's like, this reminds me of that. And then he goes, you're not bored here, are you? And she's like, oh, no. She goes, you can do this, you can do that, you can speak French, you can name all the different kinds of art. Nick thought art was a Night of Adam Sandler movies, and they both like laugh, right? I don't know.
Very anti-Adam Sandler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sam said, what's the problem with Adam Sandler? That's why I said, I don't know, if you're wondering. Why did Derek just say,
Yeah.
I don't know? So, he goes, well, I have to go to work, but I'll be back soon as I can. She smiles. And then he touches his pants. He goes, my keys. And she holds them up. And she's wearing like a gown, like a nice, beautiful gown. You know what I mean? Like, not like a dress. I'm sorry, like a morning gown. Like something a woman would wear to sleep. Like not lingerie, but like a silk.
A nightie.
A nightie, yeah. And she walks up to him and then she kisses him really hard. And she bites his lip, like hard. Like he's bleeding a little bit. He's like, ah! And then she messes his hair up and she untucks his shirt. He's like, what? And she's like, that's how all the kids are wearing it. She kisses him again. And he leaves and he kind of smiles. So he goes outside and he like tucks his shirt back in and he fixes his hair and then he gets in his car and he drives off. We see our girl watching this from the security cameras. And she watches him as he leaves. As he leaves, she ties some shit up to her ankles, right? She takes some wine, she dips her nightie all in it, like near where her pussy is, and puts the wine all on her thighs. And then she crawls to the window where the camera angle is right on her, and she's like, help, help. And she just screams, okay? So,
Okay.
cut to Tanner Bolt getting Margot and Nick out on bond. And he's like, we're going to get you guys home. We're going to prep for the trial. That's all we can do now. They walk outside, so much media. Everybody's calling him a monster. Where's Amy? You're a murderer. He gets in the car and he looks out and everybody's screaming at him, you're a monster. And he's like, come home, Amy. I fucking dare you. Right? August 3rd, 29 days gone. Okay? Amy is making marks on her wrists to make it look like somebody's tied her up. All right? She grabs a box cutter and she cuts open this bottle of wine and she puts the top in her pussy and just like fucks herself really hard with it. Okay?
Okay.
Neil Patrick Harris gets back. She's dressed up literally like a Stepford wife. You know what I mean? And she's waiting. Like she just looks so fancy, like a doll.
Okay.
And she's like, hello, Mr. Collins. And then he's like, hi, honey. And she's like, I've been thinking. Stay with me. And when all this dies down, we go to Greece. And then he goes, how long until this is all done? And she goes, 6 months for the trial. Sentencing will be quick. And then they start making out, right? And she takes off her clothes and she has unbelievable lingerie on. She's so hot. Mm-hmm. And she takes him to the bedroom. And then she rips his shirt off, right? And he's like, ooh, go slow. She's like, but I want you. She yanks his pants down. She starts sucking his dick like crazy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then she pulls him on top of her. And he's like, don't rush. And she's like, just shut up and do it already. And he's like, oh, and he puts it in her. And she's like, harder. And he starts fucking her hard. She's like, harder. And he starts fucking her real hard. She's like, harder. And she starts fucking her super hard. And then you can tell he's about to come. And then she reaches behind her out of the, like under the pillow and grabs the box cutter. And right when he comes, slices his throat hard as fuck. And he bleeds all over, and then she holds him, and she keeps fucking him until he comes, and he's like, and his blood squirting all over the bed, horrible, like ominous, like dun 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 dun, music playing as blood's just squirting all over her, right? And then finally this nigga dies, and she sits on top of him, and she looks at him, and there's blood all over everywhere, and she's like, she's about to start crying, she's like, and then she goes, and she just snaps out of it, and she gets up. Fade to black.
Oh. Wow.
How you feeling so far, buddy?
I'm I'm kind of wondering what it's like to come and bleed to death at the same time.
Awesome. I'll say this. It looked fun. Because you know you're going to die. Might as well enjoy that last come.
Yeah, a lot of mixed feelings there.
Oh, yeah. Surprise, too. A lot of surprise. August 4th, 30 days gone. You see Ben. He's asleep at home. He hears a car come crashing down the street. Right into his driveway. He's like, what the fuck? He gets up. He runs outside. He looks. He sees Amy in the car. She's looking at him. All the news media is like, what the fuck? Everybody comes. The cameras start coming up. She gets out the car. She's all covered in blood. She still has the gown on, the lingerie on, covered in blood. She walks, and everybody's like, I can't believe it. It's Amy. Oh, my God, it's Amy. All the cameras are out. She walks up to him. He walks up like towards her. He can't believe it. She falls in his arm like this. Huh? And he just goes, you fucking bitch. Fade to black. Cut to the doctor's office. The doctor's telling him, like, yeah, she was definitely raped. This is that guy's semen. Like, yeah, he was raping her. You know what I mean? And the cop's like, what, you know, the doctor leaves and the cop looks at Ben Affleck and she's like, what do you think? And then Ben Affleck's like, oh, we pals again? She's like, well, now that I know you didn't kill your wife, what the fuck is this? And you hear her story, right? And it's insane. So all the cops are questioning her.
Right.
They got her and she's sitting there and they got her in a wheelchair and she's acting like she's all confused. And they go, can you walk us through it, Miss Dunne? We know this is hard. And all the cops are like, clearly feel bad for her, but you just see the one lead detective like, you know?
Yeah.
And she goes, that morning, the doorbell rang. It was so normal, so strange. Since high school, he won't go away. I'm nice. I answer his letters. Oh, this is fucking Jeffrey up. I just tried to keep him calm. Oh, my God. I encouraged him. Oh, God. And she starts crying. And we see all the cops are like, we're sorry, Miss Dunne. And our cop's just like, the fuck? Right? And the other cop's like, don't blame yourself. She's like, he pushed me inside. He grabbed me. I got away and ran to the kitchen. He clubbed me. I collapsed. And then right then, our cop goes, that club was actually the handle to a puppet, which was a gift of yours for your husband. She goes, right, for the treasure hunt. I hit it, it goes. And then our cop goes, well, if you get that handle that goes, how did Desi get a hold of the handle? And then she goes, right then I was, she goes, it fell off. Maybe it fell off and I was holding it that's how he got it from me. And then she goes, and then Desi took me to his place. And our cop goes, yeah, about the woodshed. He took me to the lake house. She like speaks over the cop trying to answer questions. And when he took me to the lake house, he tied me to the bed. And when he tied me, and then you hear our cop go, I'm sorry, real quick. I'm so sorry. The woodshed. She's like, I have to just, did you notice at the woodshed that it was packed with, and she goes, all the things Nick purchased? Yes, I did notice. Everything from the credit cards. He buys, I nag. The story goes. She goes, he buys, I nag. That's how the story goes. Can I go back to me being a prisoner, officer? And the cop's like, yeah, continue, Miss Dunne. And so she goes, Desi assaulted me that night. Every night. Tied me up like a dog. Punished me. Starved me. Shaved me. Sodomized me. There were cameras everywhere. Please find the tapes. Please find those tapes. And then she just starts crying, right? You see the cop outside, the co-pilot cop. He's looking at Nick and he goes, you know your wife apparently slit his throat with a box cutter? And then Nick's like, if she was tied up the whole time, how'd she get a box cutter? And the other cop goes, man, can't you just be happy for your wife? And then the cut back to inside, and the detective cuts Amy off again. Amy, we found a diary with containing stuff about mental and physical abuse with you and your husband. And then she's like, yes. It's the ugly truth. Nick didn't want a baby. He had a temper. We have money problems. Yeah, but why would you buy a gun? I'm starting to fade. But about the gun, look, before I go, let me just say, if this case was kept in your incompetent hands, I would still be tied up, raped, and my husband in jail. And then the other cops are like, shut up, the detective. Like, that's enough, detective. We're sorry, Miss Dunne. We are so sorry. You know? And they go, but before you leave, we must ask, do you feel safe going home with your husband? She looks over out the window, and she's like, smiles at Nick, and he's just like, obviously, like,
Right.
oh,
Right.
You know? Cut to Nick taking her out the hospital. Her parents are there. Everyone's cheering. The whole city. We love you, Amy. Amy, you're my hero. She's just basking in glory, loving it. Because as you remember, Jeffrey, what is Amy's backstory?
She's amazing, Amy.
She's not amazing, Amy.
Right.
Now, Jeffrey, she's amazing, Amy. She has a story now. She matters now. Remember I told you it was really important, her backstory.
Right.
This is why this girl is like this. It's beautiful, bro. It's beautiful writing.
Yeah.
All she wanted was this. She wanted to be amazing Amy once in her life.
Always goes back to the parents.
Always. He gets her home. When he gets home, like this how, bro, this is how much she's into it. He walks her up the stairs, like to their house. She stops and turns and waves at the camera like she's fucking Willy Wonka or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everyone cheers, goes nuts. Nick closes the door. They go inside, and right when the door closes, he goes, "All right," like he like the music, like record scratch.
Yeah.
All right, stop pretending now. What the fuck is this? And she's like, I'm not pretending. You were perfect, Nick. The Nick on TV. That's the one I fell in love with. That's who I came home to. And he goes, I told you what you wanted to hear. And she's like, and that's how well you know me. You knew exactly what I needed to hear to get me home. You know me in your bone marrow. And he goes, tell me what happened. Tell me what you did. And she looks at him up and down, and she goes, take off your clothes. I need to make sure you're not wearing a wire. And she runs upstairs. You hear her get in the shower. He comes to the bathroom. He takes all his clothes off. He gets in the shower with her. She's still covered in blood.
Right.
So the blood is just, in the scene, the blood is coming off her this whole scene, all right? This whole conversation.
Yeah.
There's blood draining off her naked body, okay?
Yeah.
So he gets in the shower, and she looks at him. They don't say anything for a second. And he goes, you killed someone, Amy. You're a murderer. And she goes, I'm a fighter. I fought my way back to you. He goes, Amy, you killed a man. She's like, for you. He goes, you cut his throat with a box cutter for me? Like, I don't think so.
Right.
And then he goes, I'm leaving you. And she's like, you think that's smart? Shampoo. And he hands her shampoo, and she starts shampooing herself. And she goes, wounded, raped wife battles her way back to her husband, and he deserts her. Everyone will destroy you, and I will never let you forget the pain you caused me. And he looks at her. He's like I'm this is the devil.
Right.
This is the devil.
Yeah.
And he goes, once your groupies are gone outside, I'm gone. And she goes, give it the night. Sleep on it. Cut to, he puts her in bed, right? And
Okay.
he's looking at her, and he goes, was there ever a baby? And she's like, there can be. And she pats like down next to the bed. And then he's like, oh, good night. And he leaves, and he goes to his room. And I love this. He goes to a room, and he sits, and then he gets up, and he locks the door. And it's so real of like,
Yeah.
absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely, you're locking that door.
Yeah.
You don't trust this bitch.
No.
No. And he stays up all night, obviously scared, shitless, looking at the door. Mm-hmm. August 5th, one day home. I love that's how far this movie goes. Now we're into how many days she's going to be back.
Yeah.
He comes downstairs. She's making breakfast like nothing happened. Hey, handsome. You want a crepe? Sure. He sits down. NPH is all over the news. Everybody's talking about Neil Patrick Harris and how he's a monster and how he's the biggest like monster of all time and all this shit, right? And you see Amy taking questions, signing autographs. Our boy Nick is just watching, hating it. She's basking in it, bro.
Right. Yeah.
And he looks over at the parents, and Nick just goes, "You must be so proud." And he walks off. He is so mad.
Right.
Understandably.
Yeah.
August 9th, 5 days home. We see Margot and Nick talking to Tanner and the detective. And they're like, yo, Nick's like, how the fuck is this monster America's sweetheart? And Margot's like, this is crazy. You got to help us. Tanner's just laughing. Just laughing, bro. And he is like, this is the most fucked up shit ever, and you two deserve each other, right? And they watch, and Amy's just on the news eating it up. And Tanner's watching, and he's like, wow, she is so good. Like, he's impressed, right?
Yeah.
And he gets up to leave, and he pays the bill, and they're like, I can't believe you're going to leave us now. And he goes, you're not at risk anymore. You know? He goes, I'm more at risk now than I ever was.
Right.
And he goes, look, Nick, you got a book deal, a movie deal, and you franchised your bar. You ought to thank her. And he walks off. Fire! Tell me that's not fire, Jeffrey.
I suppose it's fire.
That's a fire line.
No, Tyler Perry's character in this is amazing.
Oh, me and Sam talk about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a great actor until this movie.
Right.
I didn't know. I didn't. I was like, oh no, he can like act.
Yeah.
His character's so good, and that line is fire of like, because it's
of
very
that.
lawyer line of like, hey bro,
Hella, yeah.
this is what you want out of this.
Very, very Better Call Saul. Yeah.
Very Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Very Better Call Saul. He walks off, and the sister goes, wow, Elvis has left Missouri.
Okay, yeah, that's a good little bow.
So they look at the cop, and they're like, yo, what do we do? She had to fuck up. You know what we'll do? Like, we'll check her story piece by piece. And the cop's like, it's over, Nick. And she's like, no, she had to fuck up. There must be something we can do. They're like, Nick, we had national spotlight coverage on this case, and we fucked up. It's done. They never let us touch this again. And then he's like, fuck. Like, realizing, like, the situation he's in, right? Cut to him at night, and he's looking out the window, seeing if the media is still there. And they're all still outside, and she sneaks up behind him. She's like, what are you doing? He's like, ah! And he's like, I couldn't sleep. And she's like, well, let me tuck you back in. And she holds her hand out, and she walks him upstairs, and he's all nervous like this. And she puts him in the bed, and she's like, you know, you can sleep with me. And he's like, I know. I need more time. He's like, I need more time. And then she's like, you know, honey, I will never hurt you, but I need you to participate. You need to do your part in this story. And then she leaves, and he just like creeps down in the bed like, oh my God, this is terrifying.
Yeah.
September 23rd, 7 weeks home. He's in the bathroom, water running. He's practicing a speech. My wife is an absolute psychopath. She was not kidnapped. She tried to frame me for a murder. Like, he's saying the whole thing, right? Right then you hear the doorbell ring. And they go downstairs. It's no. She calls him down for breakfast. His wife, Amy. Nick, he goes down, and they discuss how this woman, the Wendy Williams woman, is coming over to do an interview with him. And she makes him answer the questions the right way, just like how Tanner did, right? And she's like, I need you to admit you pushed me, and I need you to admit you hid everything you bought at Go's house. I need you to do those things for me to feel safe around you.
Okay. She must not know.
Know what she did?
Yeah.
And then he goes, don't worry, I know exactly what to say. Cut to the lady, because he's going to out her on the show. That's his plan.
Yeah.
Cut to the lady coming in the house, and he's like, oh, let me go get her. She's upstairs, right? Amy goes upstairs, and he talks to the interview lady. He's like, let me run upstairs and get Amy. Nick goes upstairs to get Amy. Amy says, I have another gift for you. And he's like, I don't need any more gifts from you.
Right.
She goes, open it. He opens it. It's a positive pregnancy test.
Okay.
He goes over to her, and he's like, what the fuck? I didn't touch you. This is bullshit. And she's like, you didn't need to. And then she goes, remember that notice of disposal? And then he goes, you threw it out. She goes, yeah, I threw out the notice of disposal. She said, bro, this evil bitch had everything planned.
Right.
And then he's like, I want a blood test. She's like, ooh, I love tests, Nick. He's like, Amy, you can teach people to hate me. I don't care. I'm leaving you. I'm not fucking living like this. And then she goes, well, you don't have to have me, you don't have to teach your child to hate you, Nick. They'll grow up doing that all by themselves. You fucking cunt! And he grabs her, he slams her on the wall. And she goes, I'm the cunt you married. The only time you ever liked yourself was when you tried to be someone this cunt might like. I'm not a quitter, Nick. I'm that cunt. And he's like, he's breathing hard. And then she's like, I've killed for you. You think you'd be happy with some nice Midwestern girl? Nope. I'm it, baby. And he goes, why? Why would you want all this? All we do is resent each other. All we do is hate each other, try to control each other. We just cause each other pain. Why would you want this? And he goes, she's like, because that's marriage. And then she walks off. And he's like, they go downstairs to everyone down there, bro. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, and he does the interview. Cut to, you see him with Margot. Margot is crying her eyes out. I can't watch you play house with that thing for 18 years. Margot, I can't walk away. You can't, please, you have to leave her. You can get custody. You know I won't win custody. You know it. You want to stay. Margot, it's not, you want to stay with her. What the fuck is wrong with you? And she's just crying. Yeah. You're breaking my heart, Nick. And then he's like, go. You're my voice of reason. I need you on this. He's like, well, are you going to be with me on this or not? And she's like, of course I'm with you. I was with you before we were even born, you fucking idiot.
Oh, twin. Yeah.
Bro, and then, so we see their interview on TV that night. And you see Nick, and he's on the interview, he's saying, we're just honest with each other. We love each other. He looks at her, he's like, we're partners in crime, you could say. And then Amy's like, and he's like, and we're going to be parents. And then everybody's like, yeah. And the lady in the interview comes up and gives her a hug, and they're like high-fiving, and then it zooms in on his face, and he's just like, fade out. What are you thinking? How are you feeling? What have we done to each other? What will we do? Opening shot of him rubbing her head. Gone Girl.
Okay.
Bro, if that's not the most fire fucking movie, I don't know what is, my nigga.
It's pretty nuts.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
You get what I meant by ending like Departed?
Yes.
First time I saw this movie, I was legitimately mind fucked.
Yeah, understandably.
I was mind fucked.
Yeah, that was a lot.
When you find out she's alive, bro, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yes. You've given me a lot here.
I've given you a lot to think about?
Yeah.
Don't trust these hoes.
Yep. Apparently, yeah.
Don't trust these hoes.
Oh, that didn't make you want to look for love?
Bro.
Yeah, no, that's some pretty extreme codependency, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, pretty extreme, like to the most extreme amount.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful, like, bro, it all makes sense. They're both losers. They're both failed writers. They're both like have no passion. He's a loser. He just wants another hot young girl. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just a prototypical guy. Yeah. She is not a prototypical girl.
Or she's too prototypical, one could say.
Cause, bro, but I think the backstory is fucking perfect of her.
The Amazing Amy.
It sums her up so good. Of like, because it was like, why would this person do this? Why would they be like this? Yeah. It's like, oh, nigga, that's a great reason. Yeah. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Her parents are horrible people, bro. During her disappearance, they keep going, "Oh, Amazing Amy!" Like they keep plugging their shit.
Right. No, I noticed. They don't seem great.
They're monsters, fool.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Who's your favorite character in it?
God, probably Tyler Perry.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, yeah,
He's really good. I like the cop.
the lady cop?
The lead,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lead
yeah.
detective's great.
yeah.
She's fucking awesome.
Okay.
You have anything to say to Will Peacock for making you watch this?
Thank you. Thank you for putting me through this.
Yo, he paid $150 for you to go through this. That's fucking awesome. But I'm glad he did.
Yeah, no, that was really good.
Yeah. It's one of the better movies I've ever seen, bro. You got to watch it.
Yeah, no, I'll probably watch that one. Yeah, that was a lot.
Guys, that is the sound of a man whose mind has been fucked. That's what that sounds like. David Fincher, good job.
Thanks.
That's what you want to do.
Putting your dick in my brain.
He did. He just sure did. This movie also never gets old. I've watched it like 4 times, 5 times now, and I like it every time.
Okay.
And every time, you notice more shit. Because you know the twist is coming,
Yeah.
but you notice way more. You know, so even today, I was like, damn, this movie's so fucking good. But, bro, I'm glad you enjoyed it. My guy, Burn Man.
Thank you for telling it. Yeah.
Ladies, don't do that. Don't do that.
Please.
Sam, talking to you. Do not frame me for murdering you. And then come back.
Then return.
You choose one. You either frame me for murder or we just stay together. That's it.
Yeah.
Those are the options.
Can't have your cake and eat it too.
Sam.
Yeah.
And just like that, we are done. Will Peacock, thank you again. If you want to be like Will Peacock, just $100. Spoilthebeans at spoilthebeansgmail.com. Spoilthebeans at gmail.com. Spoil the Beans on all social media platforms. Just $100 and I'll do whatever movie to a friend who has never seen whatever movie you want me to do. But pick a good movie like this one. It's better for me. I mean, I'll do whatever shitty movie you want, but it's way more fun for me. And I'm not going to tell you which movies I think are shitty, but you'll get it. But when it's like this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is a good movie.
This is a fucking
very
great
good
movie.
Yeah.
Like, throughout the whole telling him the movie, I was excited for each twist and turn because you don't see them coming.
Yeah.
So,
This is true.
Will Peacock, good job. We'll see you guys in a couple days. We're out.